Tonight on Debate Amongst Friends, NBA shakeup, or maybe just a changing of the guards. Kyrie traded from Cleveland. NFL news and updates, including big injuries and a holdout finally coming to an end. Super fight this weekend between Mayweather and McGregor. We will give our predictions, as well as the recap of WWE TakeOver, SummerSlam, and more, starting now.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Debates Amongst Friends, live on YouTube and on Twitch. This is the 68th episode of the Sports Podcast on August 23rd, 2017. I am your host, the Professor John Gotti, and always by my side, he drops the bows and he makes it flow with his words. It's Doc Ocean. How you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing great, sir. How are you?
Well, you know me, man. Can't complain. Always ready to be controversial and create some cash.
We definitely got a lot of cash to create today, sir.
Yes. And even though we have ourselves such a stacked show, we had to enlist the help of another fellow Debates Among Friends compatriot, the man who's always swifty. It's the Duke. How you doing tonight, sir?
I am good. How are you, gentlemen?
I mean...
Doing good.
I mean, we had such a awesome show last night. You know, we said, big man, talking to the guy in charge of Debates Among Friends completely. We enjoyed what Duke had to say last night, even though he roasted Chris the entire time. Let's bring him on in again. Not at the end of the show, not in the middle. We're just going to start at the start. Start at the top.
It's kind of like waking up drunk. At that point, there's really no other option but to just have another drink.
True.
Yeah.
But, gentlemen, like the doctor just got finished saying, we have ourselves a pretty stacked show. I don't know about you, but I am ready to start. And we're going to start off with the big blockbuster move, the big blockbuster trade in the NBA, where it showed Kyrie Irving getting traded from the Cleveland Cavaliers to the Boston Celtics. And as the doctor stated in the intro, it was a changing of the guards, because point guards got switched in this. With Isaiah Thomas heading to LeBron land, along with Jay Crowder, Ante Zizic, and the Brooklyn Nets 2018 first round draft pick. First of all, saltiness for Senior October. Immediate reactions, gentlemen.
Well, of course, initially, and still, I still think that the 2018 first round pick was too much. I felt like Jay Crowder and Isaiah Thomas were enough by themselves to make the money work. And I mean, obviously, if Ante Zizic or Zizic needs to be added in there for the little extra couple $100,000, cool. But that 2018 first round pick of the Nets was too much. It would have been the Celtics 2018 pick. I would have been like, okay, cool. That's going to be a late 20. Nobody really cares about that.
Yep.
But the Nets stink. Let's just be honest. The Nets still stink. They'll stink for the next couple of years until they get some real serious body movement in there. Sorry, October. Sorry.
You're not sorry.
Not sorry, though. So, all right. So first, when I woke up this morning, I did go and reach out to one of my good friends, CJ, who does happen to be a Celtics fan. And my exact words were, was there a robbery in Boston last night? I feel like the Cavs broke in with ski masks and stole some assets. He said, not happy with that pick, but we just dumped some money and potential max to a guy who's 5'9". I'm actually ecstatic about that. Now we look better when we go for either DeMarcus Cousins or Anthony Davis. This is all his words here, not mine. And I said, true that, the pick was pretty disappointing. He did say here, it gave us a superstar, though, which is what we've been searching for. So he's saying that Isaiah Thomas isn't a superstar. And Kyrie is? How do we feel about that?
Duke, you wanna jump in this one real quickly?
I mean, okay, let's put it this way. Cleveland can't catch a break for nothing. Like, every time they start getting something going, a couple years go by, and it all falls apart. It is actually kind of funny to me, not being a Cleveland fan. But, at this point, it's really just about the name recognition of Kyrie specifically, and whether or not he's going to be able to help out Boston essentially on his own now.
Well,
you know,
is it on his own though? When you look at it, look at this lineup. I mean, we're talking Kyrie. You can't forget they went out and got Gordon Hayward.
Yep.
They do have Al Horford.
Still got him.
They also drafted Tatum.
Jason Tatum.
They have Jaylen Brown, who's still growing.
Yep.
But I'm not sure. I mean, I would have to go back and fact check this, but I think they still have Marcus Smart, if I'm not mistaken.
They still have Marcus Smart.
They still have Avery Bradley.
Yes.
So, I mean...
No, they don't have Avery Bradley anymore.
They traded Avery Bradley to the Raptors or the Pacers or something.
One of them, yeah.
Okay, so they wanted to get rid of Crowder. They did that because Crowder's a great defender, but his offense is lacking.
Yes.
Okay.
Isaiah Thomas, the toothless wonder, toothless aggression in the NBA.
Toothless aggression.
He just couldn't get it done in the stretch. Cleveland picks up a guy who really, and we're going to get into Cleveland, of course, but they pick up a guy who doesn't have to be the guy now. But
okay. So real quickly, Boston traded Avery Bradley to the Pistons for Marcus Morris.
Marcus Morris. Oh yeah, so Marcus Morris, who I can never remember if he's the small forward or the power forward, but I guess it doesn't really matter.
Doesn't matter
because they got Hayward, they got Tatum. Those guys can kind of just do this with their arms. And basically, I don't know if you can see my arms here, but they could just
wacky floating inflatable wagging tube, man.
Yeah, they could just do whatever there. They could really play small forward ball like the old Houston Rockets used to do a couple years ago, and it'd be just fine. But him saying that Kyrie is an upgrade over Isaiah Thomas, I mean, I do think Kyrie gets to the cup a lot better.
He's the best finisher, best guard to finish at the rim. And that's even with Russell Westbrook.
So, I mean, this duo of Kyrie, Smart, Tatum, Hayward, Al Horford, and Marcus Morris now, I mean, is that enough, of course, to be number one, possibly number two in the East?
Well, I think it breaks down to what the roster looks like at the start of the season, who's actually going to make the cut and who's not, at least starting. And then also, two, now that all these guys are together, how are they going to stack up together? Who's going to be point? Who's going to be the one who controls this team on court?
And we're talking about the Celtics, right?
Yeah, we're talking about the Celtics. We already know who runs the show for Cleveland. There's a reason why they're called the LeBron James Cavaliers.
I mean, when you think about it, and I think this is a perfect situation for Kyrie because he does want to be the man. And when you look at this team, Gordon Hayward and Kyrie are going to play so great together.
Yes, they played AAU together.
Right, and I think if Marcus Smart gets together, it steps it up. And to be honest with you, and this is something that I was going to say for a final thought, but I'm going to throw it out there because it would make sense. I wouldn't be surprised if the Celtics are a front runner to land Dwayne Wade. If you think about
I could see that. I can actually see that. Okay, so let me give my thoughts about this. Let me give my thoughts about this. So,
please.
Here's a little review of Gotti's day. I had me some fajita Pete's, delicious, and as I was leaving, that's when we got the news about the trade.
Right.
It's safe to say I wasn't necessarily ecstatic about the trade. I was quite pissed off about the trade. I was like, this is completely unfair, and I started hashtag fire Danny Ainge. But then I remember it was Danny Ainge, and he is a genius, and he's done something like this before, and it always turned out to work best in the end. Given the chance to have that 24 hours to really mull it over and not think about it so much emotionally as a sports fan and think of it more analytically, I think Boston has actually improved themselves. Their major handicap last year was the fact that everything started and ended with Isaiah Thomas. Absolutely everything. And Avery Bradley was no scrub. He was definitely a legit number 2 scorer for them and definitely helped them out. But other than that, there was really no team chemistry, and I think that's what Duke was trying to mention, how much team chemistry it is heading into this season. Well, last season there wasn't really a lot of team chemistry. Doing the side-by-side comparison of both point guards, because I know this is the crux of it all. And if I would have to pick one of the two to start for my team, of course it's the Knicks, but just my team in general, I would pick Kyrie, not just because he's from New Jersey, but because I feel like he can better lead a franchise than Isaiah Thomas. There's been stories that's been coming out since the wake of this trade, where different teammates of Isaiah Thomas were not very happy with his attitude on and off the court. I don't want to say it was a very diva-like attitude, but it was pretty diva-like. You don't really get that same kind of vibe, Kyrie Irving. We speak of a lot of the YouTube videos that was done by Supreme Dreams, where he had Kyrie Irving standing out in the side, just hand out, looking down because he's very antisocial. But I feel like in the locker room and on the court, he can be a lot more vocal. Granted, heading into this trade, more rumors started coming out, and I really hate rumors in sports. I really do. Just give me the facts. But I would pick Kyrie over Isaiah Thomas. Even though Kyrie is a liability on defense, I feel like now that he is away from LeBron James and the big pressure and stuff like that, I feel like he's going to transition his game now. Because he defended when he was in Duke. We can all agree with that. He defended when he was in Duke.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
He would not be on the court with Coach K. On Coach K team. Let's just call it how it is. But I feel like it's going to be a transition period for him. It's his show. Him and Gordon Hayward are definitely going to be quite the dynamic duo in the East. They got Marcus. Right now I'm looking at that death trap. They'll have Jaylen Brown at starting shooting guard, Gordon Hayward as the 3, Marcus Morris at the 4, Al Horford at the 5. With Terry Rozier and Shane Larkin as backup for Kyrie Irving. That's a pretty good backup system for him.
Now imagine if they if you get Dwayne Wade and he comes in at the 2, that way you can have Jaylen Brown come off the bench. That's not bad.
That still isn't bad. Even if and we mentioned this last week actually, talking about Dwayne Wade off the bench with the second unit where he's the primary person, that's very Bobby Jackson-like.
It is. Bobby Jackson was so good.
Bobby Jackson could have started, for many teams at that time. It would be very James Harden-like.
James Harden on the Thunder. Oh man, that's so great. No, that's good. No, here's the other.
But let's bring this back to retrospect now for the Cavs now. Yeah. Heading into it now,
let me hold on before you go there. I wanted to give credit to the Cavs for a second. I don't think we do this very often. we do have to understand that this is the first move under a new regime.
Mm-hmm.
They have a new general manager.
Yep.
I have to give him credit for, number one, being able to handle the scrutiny of, basically having to deal with a disgruntled player. The possibility of all these rumors of him losing LeBron James.
Mm-hmm.
And squeezing a first-round pick out of this deal is really, really crazy.
Which is crazy because Boston was not trying to get rid of that first-round draft pick. It's a top 5 pick.
Danny Ainge's been holding on to that pick for a long time. I mean, he tried to, which I don't understand how he couldn't pull Paul George with that kind of pick. I don't understand how he couldn't pull a lot of people with those kind of picks. But I give the Cavs GM credit for that. Now, I don't know if you want to go first with the perspective on Cleveland. I have my perspective, of course, but you were about to say something about Cleveland. Plus,
the term overrated is something that we use a lot, and a lot of times we're usually in the wrong by saying that just because we don't really give people the chance to really develop. Not in this case. I feel like they really didn't change much. The thing that I worried the most heading into this season with Isaiah Thomas and LeBron James having to coexist is LeBron is going to defer a little too much. So we know how hard he worked during the, and this is, I'm going to explain why I think he's going to defer a lot during the regular season, but not the playoffs. He's going to defer a lot during the regular season and make Isaiah Thomas the primary scorer and make him, help the team, or at least try to help the team become a lot better. Just because of how many minutes LeBron's been getting, and if they're, let's say, top 3 in the East, because I think they're still going to be top 3 in the East. I don't know if they're going to be number 1. They're going to be top 3 in the East. But it'll allow LeBron James to get a lot more rest. It'll decrease his number of minutes he has to play a game. It'll decrease the amount of time he has to spend on the floor. It will decrease the amount of games that he has to play. A la Shaquille O'Neal towards his tenure with the Lakers.
No, definitely. The one thing I agree with you. I don't know. I think that they got a little better. And the only reason I say that is because of
Jay Crowder?
No, definitely not Jay Crowder.
Jay Crowder's the X factor to help them win the championship next year. Honestly, you heard it from the doctor first.
I considered that before we got on the show. Jay Crowder is a pretty solid defender, and that's kind of what the Cavs have been looking for off the bench. But he's also somebody that's going to show the grit, a little bit what they expected out of Iman Shumpert. But you see what happened to Iman Shumpert. Exactly. You're laughing there. I see you laughing there. But they also added Derek Williams.
You can't shoot. You can't defend. You can't hit an open 3. You can't do nothing. Get on the bench. No, don't sit down on the bench. Get out the court. Get out the stadium. Go find yourself a plane.
Stand in the park.
Go to the barber shop. Get rid of that stupid haircut.
That's it. But they added Jeff Green. They added Jay Crowder. Of course, they added Isaiah Thomas. But they also, of course, added Derrick Rose. And I think Derrick Rose coming off the bench with Jay Crowder, Jeff Green, whoever, Derek Williams. I was about to say Darren Williams. He should be cut. Derek Williams. I mean, they're going to be something pretty. It's going to be pretty interesting. I'm interested to see how they manage this. How the coach manages this. You might not have to rely on Richard Jefferson, and you might not have to rely on J.R. Smith to score these buckets because they got so many other people. In which I don't think they're Warriors ready, but they're definitely ready to, like you said, get LeBron that help to where he can breathe a little bit.
Yes.
And in the event that LeBron does leave next year, they have a team.
Yes.
That can still compete in
which
the
is
East.
Better what could have been said if they didn't do anything.
Absolutely.
And they followed the plan according to the book of LeBron.
Right. And I mean, I really do hope, and this is at in the bottom, top, middle, all around of my heart here, my entire heart. Like, I really do. Like, 808s and heartbreaks, the whole heart. This is the stomach.
Very wholesome.
Heart. Stomach. This is the heart. This is the stomach. This is the heart. Like, seriously, that Dwayne Wade doesn't join this Cavs team. I would hate that. I probably wouldn't even watch any basketball. I would just go around peeing everywhere.
Okay, we're gonna leave that one at that one. Duke, you want to chime in?
Yeah, I don't think he would, and only because Dwayne's at the point where you're more of an assistant coach than a player.
Right.
Like,
Hilarious.
you're still a good player, but any team that's going to pick him up is going to pick him up to develop the players they already have, or the players that they're getting in the trades.
We don't want him to get. We don't want him to go and take $2 to play with the Cavs because that's all they have left.
Pretty much. But that's also why I don't think that LeBron is going to hang it up after next season, because it's going to take at least a season and a half to get all these guys clicking the way that they should.
It depends on how they. I'm going to say this. It depends on how they lose in the finals.
And that's quite possible. But again, that's why I say this season or this finals is going to be the trial run. We tweak a few things, move a few people around, maybe we work on some strengths and weaknesses. We come back again next season. Now you should be to that point where LeBron can at least consider hanging it up at the end of the following season.
I think LeBron might leave to. And we're gonna get to this somewhere in here. Actually, no. I think we were supposed to talk about it in here.
Yeah, we're losing time on it though, unfortunately.
And that's fine. And let's just throw it in here right now.
Unless you want Chris to extend the time. I mean.
Tell Chris. Shut up.
Oh, here we go. I'm sorry, Chris. And the worst part is, Chris, we got both of them tonight.
But see, here's the thing, though. So
we're gonna extend it 10 minutes, Chris. It's
that's
okay.
Fine. That's perfect. We're gonna wrap this up, Chris. Shut up. That was my hand.
Oh my gosh. Okay, keep going. Come on, we got 10 minutes.
I'm sorry. Okay, so God, that's so funny. So LeBron James. So Blake Griffin says LeBron James is more likely to go to New York than to go to LA. Clearly, he wasn't ever going to the Clippers.
No,
never.
No.
I think the Clippers are going to revert back to the 90s, 80s, whenever, the terrible years, dark ages. If LeBron leaves and he does go to LA, or in this case, if he does go to New York, I think this Cavs team would be better served than when he left the first time, when they just had Antoine Jameson and a few other bums.
Yes.
CJ Miles. I mean, some of those, Ilgauskas. Your favorite player?
No, that is definitely your favorite player. I remember that one. I remember that one. Why would you say that? You knew I was going to say that. You could have just said his name and just kept on going.
Never. I wanted to beat you to the punch.
Nope.
So I think that he would consider losing. I definitely get what you're saying, Duke. I just think that it's one of those situations where now he's like, at that point, I've been to 8 straight finals.
And how many rings did you have out of 8 straight finals, though?
What would he be? 2 and 6, 3 and 5, something like that.
3 and 5. If
he loses again, maybe 3 and 5. He's gonna be like,
Well, he's right now 3 and 5 because he went to 8 straight finals.
Okay, I thought it was 7 straight finals. Okay, see, now I'm lost. Okay, so this would be a 9th straight finals.
Yeah, something like that.
So he goes to 9 straight finals. He loses this one, and he'll be 3 and 6. Because there's no way they're beating the Cavs with that the Warriors with that roster. Because the Warriors re-upped and they signed some pretty key players. They're clicking on all cylinders. I just don't see it happening. Then you got to worry about the rest of the West that got better. Kyrie's going to come back with a vengeance, so he might try to leave.
Okay, so really quickly, he is 3 and 5 overall, but he is 3 and 4 the past 7 straight finals. So if he goes this year, it'll be 8.
It'll be 3 and 5.
Yes. So he's currently 3 and 5.
So if he loses this one, there's no way he stays in Cleveland unless there's a wholesale change.
If they don't make it to the finals, he ain't staying. If they lose the finals, he ain't staying.
I don't see anybody. I don't see any teams that could challenge them right now, unless, like we talked about last week, the resurgence of the 76ers click.
Milwaukee.
The Bucks. They click. The Celtics now, they click. I mean, if these teams click, then
even Washington, if they make like a mid-season move, they could probably make some noise. Miami was the team that the Cavs didn't want in the playoffs.
This is true. And Miami is another team that could easily sign Dwayne Wade back. So
exactly.
I mean, he could go back and they could be competitive.
It's probably not going to happen, but it's options.
It could happen.
You never know.
It could happen.
The only reason I say it probably won't happen is the fact that he got burned.
He did get burned, but sometimes you just put yourself a little Neosporin on there, and you just kind of keep going. I guess when the money's calling and talking, when it comes crashing down and it hurts inside.
You did not just go there.
But I just, like I said, just want to give the kudos to the GM for putting that trade together and squeezing that first round pick.
Absolutely.
I think the Cavs did get better in respect to their bench, unless they start Crowder over J.R. Smith, which I wouldn't be mad at, because J.R., I don't think he's a starter anymore.
No.
Personally. I just don't believe it. Or I don't even know why I would even bring it up, but Kyle Korver doesn't get the minutes that he gets because he's non.
He might be the player that's actually, now that you mention it, thank you for reminding me, especially since we only have about 6 minutes left. So now that this trade is in the books, we're heading into the 2017-2018 season. Duke, Doctor, the people are screaming in my ears. They want to find out, how does this trade? They want to know, how does this trade now affect Kevin Love's status in Cleveland?
I think it helps.
I think I'll agree with you, Doc. I think that it most definitely could. Again, depending on how everything clicks up. I don't necessarily know that Love has any rivals in these trades that actually threaten his position. So, again, he's kind of in the same boat with LeBron, where you have some more help. You can get some more rest. Rest your knees a little bit. But at the same time, we'll really only know the answer to that question come the beginning of next season. After the teams had time to hit the court and click up, and the GMs and the managers and the coaches see who they do and do not want in certain positions at certain times.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, nobody else wants Kevin Love. So the Cavs would have to include that Nets 2018 pick just to get rid of Kevin Love. So let's say, for example, the Cavs GM say, you know what, LeBron, we want LeBron to stay. We got to do something to make LeBron feel better.
Make him feel good.
Do something to make me feel better.
They're gonna go out first.
Kiss. I'm sorry, Chris.
No, he's not.
So they would trade Kevin Love and that 2018 first round pick to the New York Nets for Carmelo Anthony.
I'll be totally fine with that.
And Carmelo would be like, you know what? I mean, I really wanted to go to Houston, but you guys don't want Ryan Anderson. I get it. You don't want Rhino.
No.
And I get that.
So I'm going to be controversial. And in regards to Kevin Love heading into this season, I'm going to use a bracketology term. He is the first four out.
I would like to hear this other four.
No. The term first four out.
Oh, okay.
Just the term. The term.
Just the term.
Yeah, just the term. No.
If it were a 4, I would like to know.
I think it doesn't even matter because as soon as other players hit the waiver wire, they're going to pick them up anyway for cheap. So it doesn't matter.
I don't think it's happening this year.
It happens every year.
I don't think it's happening.
This year. It's happening.
I think it's too many. They have too many. They're over the limit as we speak right now. So there's so many people on that team. I definitely feel like they're over 18 people, and I know those people aren't in the D League because you got older. Most of their players are all 7 years and older. So it's crazy. Just looking at it.
But here's why I'm saying that he's the first 4 out.
Mm-hmm.
The Cavs still has the ability to amnesty someone.
I don't think that's gonna. I don't know if it would be him. You don't know why?
It's gonna be either him or Tristan Thompson.
The only reason I wouldn't. I definitely don't think it's gonna be Tristan. Oh my God, plus. Honestly, looking at the roster, if it was me and I just picked up someone like Jamison Crowder, I might be inclined to waive J.R. Smith for $13 million. Or Iman Shumpert.
But the problem is,
Iman Shumpert at $10 million.
But you can trade both of them to a low tier team, though.
I don't know if people want JR or Iman Shumpert. $10 million for Iman Shumpert is lower than Danny Green.
I'm not going there because I said that I would rather have Danny Green before
that's so lower than Danny Green, and I hate to play Danny Green out because he's such a good player to mentor. If he had somebody like Dwayne Wade to mentor him, he might be really, really good.
Yes,
but he doesn't.
All right, we got less than a minute. Duke, you have any other final words about this trade, about the upcoming season?
Like I said, man, I'm just waiting to see how it all unfolds. I don't necessarily like making predictions on basketball because mine usually turn out very poorly very often. So I'll reserve my money for some other sports.
Excellent. Doctor, any last words about it?
The only thing you have here really is either Warriors Cavs again or the Cavs blow it and Eastern team loses to the Warriors. Warriors win.
And that is the horn, ladies and gentlemen.
And that's how the cookie crumbles.
I see what you did there. So, let's transition from the world of the NBA out to the gridiron. There's been a lot of injuries, Doctor. What do you got for us?
So, of course, the major injury that everyone is talking about. Yeah, you, honey. Woo. Of course, it's Odell Beckham Jr. and his little ankle injury. Oh, my ankle, my hair, head and shoulders. Oh, God. So, Odell Beckham Jr. hurt his ankle. And, of course, everybody was scared. I saw on Facebook it was more of the, oh, man, he shouldn't even be out there. He should get I heard he should get paid quarterback money. I heard so many different things on Facebook. After this injury, it was so funny. What the heck?
Well, first things first, real quickly. Duke, Doctor, was the hit on Odell Beckham Jr. Cheap or fair? Was it a dirty play?
I'm gonna let you go first.
I am going to say it was a cheap shot. It was real kind of borderline-y for me because it all depends on the angle. But I'm gonna say it was cheap, and only really because it's preseason, man. Come on now. Mm-hmm. There's not even a need to be coming that hard.
Wait, repeat that.
Uh-oh.
Rephrase it. It's football. You gotta do.
You gotta phrase it. All right. But
come on.
and I know that's a little lightweight to just call on a cheap hit, but my whole thing is this is kind of like like going back to the '86 Pistons, like you were just coming out being unnecessary for no good reason, and especially when you know that this play is almost done anyway. Just
that play wasn't over yet. He actually just caught the ball and was trying to go into running position.
Oh wait, my bad. That is absolutely correct. Wrong play.
So I have a still of it here, and of course, in the still, it does look like a cheap shot. It looks like one of those moves where, let's just say, a current rivalry that we had, Enzo Amore versus Big Cass. Big Cass misses a big boot, and Enzo tries to take out his leg. That's how the still looks. I have to imagine that Odell was probably about to plant and go for a move on this safety here, and this guy comes up and hits him in the knee. Is it a cheap shot? Probably not. Is it a poor decision on a method of tackling? I would say definitely, because he is behind him. Honestly, looking at it, he could have torn ACL, PCL, MCL. He could have destroyed his meniscus in this angle. I would say that Odell Beckham Jr. is lucky that an ankle injury is all he walked away with from this hit. Just looking at it. And I can, let me see here. I can put it in the chat here just so you can see it. But it's one of them situations where had he done anything else, it could have turned out to be pretty bad. Honestly,
and
it could have been worse.
That's true, and thank you for putting that a lot more eloquently than I could have.
Because you said soft, and I was like, whoa, he can't say soft. Can he say soft? I don't think
yes,
he can say soft. Like
I don't think he meant it SOFT. I think he meant it SAWFT.
I'm just saying, like, two-hand touch.
Well, it's gonna eventually get probably to that point, and football's not gonna be fun anymore. It's not gonna be the number one point. But here's my take on it. Was it a cheap, a dirty play? No, it's not a dirty play. Here's why. It's not a dirty play because they've limited the area of targeting for defensive players towards an offensive player. They have limited so much that they have no other choice but to go low.
I agree.
With all the CTE stuff happening, and I'm listening about it for like the past 2 days about it, just to make sure that I'm getting unbiased opinions about this, where some people were saying it was a cheap shot, other people saying it was a legal shot. Looking at the rules of the NFL, you can't go after the head, you can't go around the neck area, and going around the actual sternum area, the solar plexus area, it basically becomes 50-50 because there's only so much you can actually control once you launch yourself into a offensive player to try to make a tackle. So you have no other choice but to go low.
True.
Could it be rectified? Absolutely. But it's hard to control yourself as you're in full motion, as we've seen time and time again. So while it looks like a dirty play, it's not. It's just you gotta go out there and just play football. And Odell Beckham Jr. said the same thing. I'm just ready to go back out there and play football. There's nothing else you can do.
That's kind of what I was alluding to. Thinking of the word soft, I was like, well, wait a minute here. You know, this is football, and I mean,
it is starting to become soft.
It is, and I hate.
I mean, let's just talk about the elephant in the room. Like, it's becoming soft.
Yes, it is becoming soft, and I mean, I hate it. Of course, I don't like the whole idea of CTE and everything like that. But, and I think we've talked about this in the past, and I've had these conversations. It's like, as time moves on, these guys are getting bigger. They're getting faster. They're getting stronger. So when you think about it, when Ray Lewis first, think about it just like this. When Ray Lewis, let's go back further. Lawrence Taylor.
Good
old LT.
When Lawrence Taylor came into the league, probably one of the fastest defenders they had ever seen rushing the passer.
Yes.
All these other guys were big. They had great moves. The Bruce Smiths. Those guys, like, they were great. Reggie Whites. They had great hands and
Deacon Jones. Yeah.
Deacon Jones, exactly. With LT, it was all speed and power. He had the power to get around that edge, the finesse to get around that edge. And then you look at it, think about the evolution, which is a mystery.
I knew he was going to go there.
The evolution, it's just a mystery of the speed of these guys, the Ray Lewises, the Terrell Suggs. Think about, remember the Giants had O.C. and
Umenyiora and Justin Tuck, yep.
And then they had all four. These guys were fast off the ball. So, I mean, just think about it. These guys are getting faster and stronger coming out of college. And it's like you're asking them to now
slow down.
Yep. And think, period.
Yeah.
That's where I remember the Bucks signed Deshaun Golston a couple of years ago.
He was really high.
Oh my God. Like one of the biggest hitters in the NFL for years. Then they changed the rules, and it's like, hey, you can't hit like that anymore. The guy spent hundreds of thousands of dollars working with a specialist on how to tackle without hitting somebody in the wrong spot.
Mm-hmm.
That's ridiculous.
I mean, just think about
like analogy at it. It's kind of like nerfing a grenade.
It's like, ridiculous.
There's just no way to actually do it, and you're going to start seeing. Thank you, Doctor. The de-evolution of players now coming out of college, where you don't have to be as big because that size is not really going to matter for too much. Like, I might get faster, but I don't have to hit as hard, or I can't hit as hard.
Right, and I never got a chance to finish the movie on CTE with Will Smith, the concussion movie. I never got a chance to finish it, but I mean, they made some great points. I didn't play football for, I would say more. Well, I don't know if we're counting street ball here. I played street ball forever, but I played contact football probably for about 5 years, and then when I got older, I did play. We'll just say 6 years tops. And looking at the people that I know who've had concussions, of course, you don't see any signs of that now. I have to imagine when we get older, you'll start to see some of those things that you did when you were younger. Even those moments when, as kids, you might have just hit your head on a table or something. Those things are going to come back. And you think about these guys are actually doing everything on the field with their helmet, so it is pretty rough. But, I mean, as far as that injury, that was the biggest one. I think the other one's Brandon Marshall. We did have a few people out, but that's something that we'll continue to monitor over the course of the next couple of weeks right here on Debate Amongst Friends, 8:15 Eastern Standard Time on YouTube and Twitch.
Nice pitch. You probably should have threw in what was tonight's drink of choice at Debate Among Friends, but that's fun, though. Continuing on, staying with the NFL. Exactly. I mean, really trying hard. In other news for the NFL, we had a holdout end for one of the top running backs in the games. Le'Veon Bell has decided to report to his team on the 1st of September.
Which is big, because they needed him, because he's one of the best backs in the league, if not the best back in the league.
Yes.
And the one thing they don't need is him coming in out of shape. Now, the good thing about Le'Veon Bell is his running style. And because of the way he runs the ball, it might be easier for him to transition and getting back into football shape. In my humble opinion, of course.
I can agree with that. I mean, let's think of the last... I mean, when you think of a running back coming into camp or starting the season out of shape, the first person that comes to mind, Eddie Lacy.
Eddie Lacy. He's still trying to prove himself.
Exactly, like the steep decline in his productivity. Because he was one of, I think, the top 3 in rushing yards the prior season, and then the next season he was possibly the worst because he had injuries issues, he had stamina issues, and he was just no 60-minute man.
I thought he was going to be him, and they had drafted the other guy in the same year. I think his last name was Franklin, and I was so jealous, really, of the Green Bay Packers for them having two of the best backs in the draft. And I was sitting there like, oh my god, like they're.
Are you talking about James Starks?
No. They drafted. I'll have to do some fact checks, but they drafted another. They drafted.
Is that the call for Chris to do some research?
Yes, but you're right though. Eddie Lacy does come to mind. Of course, somebody like Trent Richardson. Trent Richardson, who could run 1,000 yards with the Cowboys. Oh God, he should just get signed by the Cowboys. I just want to see it. Don't you want to see it?
I kind of don't because they already have 3 legit running back threats.
But that fourth one is the one that could really take the cake.
No. So the last thing that Professor John Guy needs to hear out here in the DFW area are Cowboys fans laughing it up because it became too easy. Because they did the same thing last year, and of course disappointment followed. Shots fired.
That's funny.
But I just don't want to see the same thing happen again. Okay, it's funny the first time, but you know, after you see the kid drop his ice cream on the floor, it's not funny anymore. The second time.
And just looking at the research here, it looks like the Packers did draft Eddie Lacy in the second round.
Yep.
But then they drafted Jonathan Franklin from UCLA in the 4th round.
I remember.
And unfortunately, and he was so good. I was surprised that he actually went in the 4th round. We're talking about.
I think he has some off the field issues.
No, he actually had a neck injury.
That's what it was.
Rookie
it was something
that ended his career, which I hated because I think personally he would be the starting running back for the Packers right now if he doesn't get hurt. Eddie Lacy still would be gone. There is no James Jones or any of these other guys that they have out there now. It would be all Franklin. Clifford Franklin's?
I was trying not to do that. I was trying so hard not to do that either. I was like, oh, it was right there to myself. I'm like, no, I gotta stay professional about it. Why you gotta do this?
Clifford Franklin's got a new home. I'm sorry. But no, you're right.
You know this isn't natural, Coach. You know this doesn't look natural. Okay, keep going.
But also in the holdout is former Buccaneer and current Oakland Raiders left tackle Donald Penn.
Yes,
ends his hold and returns to practice. And speaking of somebody coming in out of shape, Donald Penn was notorious for coming to camp out of shape. So I am very, very curious to see how he looks.
Yeah,
coming into camp, and you know, Beast Mode ain't got time for no out of shape left tackle.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. Especially since he took the year off. He doesn't have that luxury right now.
He does not have that luxury, and it's funny because J Rich just went out and bought a Beast Mode jersey.
Shout outs to J Rich.
Which I told him to get a Amari Cooper because you just never know what Beast Mode. He might just be like, man, I came back to play 1 year and I'm out. You done bought a jersey. And that's it. Whoa.
So, getting back to the subject at hand, though, before we completely go into other tangents, the significance of Le'Veon Bell ending his holdout because he wants to get paid. I'm pretty sure we can all agree that he should be getting paid.
How did he turn? I mean, honestly, if you're gonna come back and play anyway, I would have just took the money when they first offered it to me because I think they offered him.
They offered him like a 5-year contract.
Yeah, and it seemed to be pretty good money, and I think they even came back and offered him a 1-year deal too for this year. I mean, it's just hard because we're looking on the outside in.
Yep.
You know, we would take, you know, less money, but these guys do give up a large chunk and control of their life. They got to watch what they eat. They got to watch what they put in their body. They got to work out. They got to wake up. They got to lead their families, you know. So, I mean, it's definitely a sacrifice. And that is something that I'm learning, of course, from watching Hard Knocks.
Yes.
Shout out to Hard Knocks.
And I know this because of, you know, me loving to watch mixed martial arts and boxing.
Right. Oh, boxing especially. They can't. Let's just skip that part.
Oh, we'll get there. We'll get there. I know you're excited to talk about it, but we'll get there.
They can't do the do.
Nope.
And that's rough. And they train for like 9 months.
Yeah.
Hey.
I mean, if you want a pretty good taste of it, it's you
really
look at like
the last 3.
Yeah, I think it is like the last 3, but you could think of like Rocky 4.
Right, exactly. Nope, not boxing, but carry on.
Hilarious. But I mean, do you feel like that he's going to have the same kind of production he has? Because I think the last 2 seasons he at least missed the first 4 games due to violation of the personal conduct.
And again, his running style is, I think, what gives him the opportunity to miss camp, to miss practice, to miss games because of the way he runs. I don't even think their offensive line is that great. No. I just think that he is so patient. He's the first running back. Excuse me. He's the first running back that I've seen that can sit behind the line of scrimmage for a second and a half, sometimes 2 seconds. Like, he can sit there, think about it,
survey the field,
have a Stella.
I see what you did there.
And then hit the hole and gain 15 yards. Like, you know, you've never seen it. Like, most people, like, they even teach you. You know, you get the ball, you hit the hole. But
you hit the ball. Well, I can't say that one because Helen might get upset when we say that.
I mean, all Helen has to do is look at Trent Richardson and she'll allow it. I mean, if Trent Richardson would have taken that Le'Veon Bell approach, he'd be the best back in the league, probably.
Oh my! I can't believe you just went there. I'm so bad that you went there.
But Le'Veon Bell, I think, is going to be fine. I think he'll be fine. I really worry more about the mental capacity of Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah. What do you think, Duke? Let's get you in there.
Again, like, this is honestly one that I had not been following. When it comes to football, I'm pretty biased against certain teams and players. So as soon as I saw Bell's name pop up, I excluded it from my feed. I'm like, I don't know.
Wow.
Oh, because he's a Titans fan. That's why.
I know. Yeah, I know. That's just terrible.
But
you gotta know your enemies and know your opponents more than anything.
But it's okay though, because as soon as we get into the season predictions, he will be in here so he can, you know, exacerbate how much his team is going to absolutely demolish his division this year.
That is true. It's been a long time coming, but oh my goodness, I am so ready for this season to start. And I was actually sitting there looking at the preseason scores. And remember, I was saying last time that I was talking about the Titans and how they always seem to have this affinity.
I remember that statement.
Starting strong
and
finishing weak. Or starting weak and finishing strong. So I'm
sure did say
I'm
that.
pensive right now. I am real pensive.
It's so crazy because, you know, we were just talking about that last week and how we come full cycle here.
Yes.
Like, we started last year in the playoff, or basketball was coming to an end. Football, like, we're back again,
and better than ever.
I'm back.
I'm sorry.
That was on you. That was you.
I know.
But I mean, evolution. It's a mystery. I get it.
It is a mystery.
But that's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up though, because we just came full cycle, and that's.
And that's what we love so much about sports. It's the fact that things could come full cycle like this.
That's what we love about this. That's what I love about doing the show.
Yes, I appreciate everyone who helped out with the show. You know, Doc, Duke, Senior October whenever he's never on holiday. Helen making sure that we don't, piss off the FCC every single week.
Not Chris.
Scott, who holds it down for us financially, make sure that we have the gears that we need to give us the ability to do what we do so much. And not Chris.
No, not Chris.
No, not Chris. No,
not Chris.
Sorry, I was trying
to. He's not a paid member. It's not a job if you don't get paid. That's the simple rules. That's economics.
I'm like legitly gonna leave like 15 minutes just so y'all two could just have a roast on Chris. Like I think that's what the people are waiting for.
Honestly, that's just gonna be a whole nother episode.
It's gonna be another episode. We'll have you back in. We'll make sure that security knows to let you into the building, so they don't try to tack you down like they did that one week. But we don't talk about that.
Yeah. It was a misunderstanding. I get it.
Yes.
You can't just walk into every building with a shotgun on your back. It's cool.
No,
unless it's a Jacobs.
It has to be a Jacobs, actually. If not, it must be. It must be a conference call.
I mean, it was a Torg, so I could see it putting them on edge.
Yeah.
Well, I keep telling you, time and time again, don't come into a building with a source explosion.
No explosions, really.
It's my fave. Though.
I know it's your fave, and it didn't work with us when we faced Hyperius. It's not going to work coming into the building. It just doesn't work.
Hyperius is the one with the... Is that the one that's gliding around, trying to kill me?
No. Hyperius...
4 little mini loaders.
Yeah. It was the guy inside the arena, and he has like 4 little minions that comes out as soon as you start shooting him.
Got it.
And he's the guy who shoots out like novas and stuff.
I bored him once.
Yes, he got the God Boar on Hyperius.
Got it. Okay.
Nice.
I was
and he didn't realize it until I told him.
I didn't. I was like, what? I did what? I just shot him. Like, I don't know.
I'm like, wait a minute. His health went down really, really fast. Oh my gosh, you got the God Boar.
And ladies and gentlemen, this is just a snippet of gaming amongst friends. So, please follow that channel also. You're going to see that on Twitch also. Yes. Underneath Debates Among Friends, of course, Twitch and channel. But gaming amongst friends, where we're going to game hard.
We're going to be doing some Let's Plays. We're going to do some blind runs. We're going to attempt some speed running. We're going to do some challenges for certain games. We do everything ranging from the old school titles to the newest stuff. I'm going to try to get some Mario hacks in.
Game hard.
And, we're going to try to post as much as possible. It'll be myself, it'll be Doc, it'll be Duke, it'll be the entire Debates Among Friends crew, minus Chris.
Thank you.
Just giving the people what they want, and that's video games, because video games is the future.
But speaking of Chris,
I
know
many headless zombies.
Yes.
Yeah, plus.
Yes.
But speaking of Chris, before we move on, I mean, is this game that we're going into more than 2 players? Because we're going into
Dying Light.
Is that going to be more than 2 players, or?
I think it might be more than 2, but I might need to.
Well, that's something another. I just wanted to ask that because I know we got to get into the 49ers making history.
Yes, they've made history. Tell them about it. Tell them, Hawk.
Well, and I hate this, and I want the people to know that I hate this, and I don't want you guys to believe that we're just up here just giving the news. Yeah, because. So basically, the news is they made history because they hired the first openly person in the LGBT community.
Correct.
I don't like this because, number one, if they're a good coach, I don't care. If they're a good player, if they're a good human being, that's all that really matters.
Yes.
If this person can coach, the only thing I never know is, and I mean, I'm sure Helen's probably like, get ready to mute his microphone.
She is on pins and needles over here.
It's like, sometimes I just don't know. In certain situations, it's like he, she, I don't know. Well, what do you want to be called here? And it's like, or how should I approach you on this situation? What are we doing here? But as far as what you associate yourself with outside of your job, that's on you. Can you coach football? Can you do X's and O's? Dang it, do you know anything about football, basketball, baseball?
What?
Anything other than October?
Wow. Shots fired.
I mean, caveat to that. I do think that it is important in these 3 situations.
Oh,
and
and
you need to be good at your job.
The person's name is Katie Sowers.
Okay,
just for people to know.
Is that the person's original name or the name that they have now?
Helen is telling me to mute you.
See, that's what I was
Helen is telling me to mute you. The person's name is Katie Sowers. We need to leave it at that. We need to leave it ambiguous like that.
Helen is looking like the president with her finger on the nuclear button.
Exactly.
But I will say this. Nothing else really matters outside of your performance to do your job except for these 3 things. Mm-hmm. And I will try to put them in order of importance.
Go for it.
1, do you sell or do drugs? 2, do you enjoy making skin suits of your fellow human beings?
How you doing?
And 3, is one of the fleet of your cars a windowless van with free candy and puppies spray painted on the side?
How you doing?
Feel like those are the only 3 things that matter outside of the office, off the court, off the field, etc., etc. So, just a caveat on the statement that you just made, because there are some things that we care about as fans and spectators that our teams do when they're not in uniform.
Yes. Especially, nowadays, they care too much.
Where apparently hitting your wife can or cannot end your career. I'm just saying.
As long as she can coach football, according to Kyle Shanahan, she's been with. This is not her first rodeo.
Yes.
Obviously, she played quarterback for the Kansas City Titans in the Women's Football Alliance. I'm reading here. She knows football. So if she knows the job, it doesn't really matter. It sounds like she's been a coach before, or at least a quality control assistant.
Yes.
So it's not like this is really her first job as a coach. And that's where I think it's kind of being blown out of proportion. And that's kind of what we talked about off stream, to a point where, hey, is this really notable news, or are they just trying to figure out a way to not just strictly talk about all of the protests?
Yes, and for those that want to know, she's classified as being homosexual.
Right.
Okay.
The reason I didn't want you to say what you said before is because that wasn't the right thing to say.
Again, of course it's not the right thing to say, and that's why I started with a asterisk, and I said that, of course, I have no idea. Like, because LGBT is so general. It's like, are you a lesbian? Are you bisexual? Are you gay? Are you transgender? Like, why put all those people together? Like, I don't really understand that part. But that's a whole other story. And I'm so glad for that buzzer. That means we don't have to talk about that.
Oh, goodness.
And it looks like we're moving on to a retirement.
Yes, we are. But before we go there, you asked the question about Dying Light. And yes, Dying Light does support 4-player multiplayer.
So I guess we'll be... I think I'm going to die a lot in that game. And it's not.
You say that about every single game. You were saying that about Borderlands. You didn't die as much as you thought that you did.
I die a lot in Borderlands.
That's because you kept jumping off cliffs.
That happened one time.
It's called base jumping.
Oh God! But I think that Dying Light, the parkouring that's going to have to happen in that game is going to have to be really, really accurate, and that's where I struggle to keep up. And I'm going to have to do a lot of shooting and sacrifice, and I understand that. That's my role. People on the stream, my role is sacrifice. I'm the official sacrificial lamb of the team.
You don't even believe what you just said.
I do believe it. I have to just shoot my way out.
Oh my goodness.
Shoot my way out.
Oh my god.
Sometimes it's the only way.
It was just me and my sidearm.
Oh my god. Did you just go measure pain? We're going to the next subject.
Oh God!
My
You
goodness.
won't take me. Bam! I see what you did to
Good luck
my
in! Bam! You're gonna want to watch this after the show. Stop it.
Okay.
But-
And
Oh my goodness. Introduce the next one. Go ahead.
Anquan Bolden retires, and I we talked about this last week. These random retirements.
This one was the most random though.
Yeah, I'm just not even understanding what is happening because he just signed a contract.
He did. He
Like,
signed
literally
13
just-
days ago.
Yeah, and then and I don't know if it's one of those situations where, hey, my body just doesn't want to do this anymore. Like I might just want to call it quits. But it's just really, really crazy. But at 36 years old, it's like, I guess I can understand it here. And it looks like there are multiple reasons why he retired. Obviously there are a lot of things going on in the African American community, and it seems like that always plays a role now. It's like people are really starting to, of course, link football and the movements together, not just because of Kaepernick, but because of a lot of the protests. I think a lot of different people do a lot of different things in their respective neighborhoods that might not be on the same visual level as Kaepernick, but it still has the same amount of meaning, the humanitarian work that a lot of these players do that aren't televised, I think don't go noticed enough. But just because Kaepernick decided to kneel and that got the public's attention, I mean, I don't know. I just wish other guys, such as Anquan Bolden and a lot of guys, get the notable news and attention and credit that it deserves.
Yes.
And that's all I got to say about that.
Duke.
Doc, the Rock Doc.
The Rock says okay, whatever.
You know what? I can respect this a little more than the previous example aforementioned, and only really because while I don't necessarily agree with the decision, I can also see why he did it, and I at least appreciate the fact that you decided, hey, my humanitarian work to me right now in my life is more important than me putting on the suit and playing. And to that, I can respect that. I can respect that wholeheartedly. Again, I don't agree with it, but I can respect that. It kind of makes me go back to Ali and his protests against Vietnam. And I'm kind of like, he got out. He basically used his celebrity to promote his view. But he didn't stop boxing. He didn't go sit ringside and just refuse to participate. He still had a job to do, and he still did it. He was just vocal about his opinions in between. And, even in that situation, had he decided he was going to hang up the gloves and focus on humanitarian work or focus on the movement that was going on at the time, I feel like I would have equally respected that. So, shouts out to my man, Anquan. I hope he finds much success in his next life. And, I think that his presence on the field will be missed, at least this season. But, again, shouts out to him.
And don't get me wrong. I don't think he was playing for the Lions last year, and I think he's got to a point where I'm not sure, if he had the production in him anymore. Those years in Detroit might have really took it out of him.
That's hilarious.
That's fair.
There. I definitely would say this. He's definitely, a favorite of mine. When he played in Arizona, definitely when he played in Baltimore. I remember their Super Bowl victory against the 49ers. I was sitting there watching with my family, and they're like, oh, who's Anquan Bolden? I'm like, man, he's money. It's like, what are you talking about? He catches everything every single ball that's thrown his way. He catches it. He is just straight money. And
how can we forget the fractured face?
Exactly.
I mean, that boy can catch a cold in the desert on a summer day.
I mean, if you want to talk about like one of the toughest SOBs to be a wide receiver, I mean, him, Steve Smith Sr., you know, it starts with that conversation.
Absolutely. I agree. It's a good one. It's a good one.
But it sounds like we have ourselves a buzzer.
What'd you say, Chris? Did you say something, Chris? Oh, I didn't think so.
No, Chris is telling us to keep on going because he's afraid about what he'll have to say because he knows that you and Duke will definitely lay into him, so.
Just saying.
Doc's gonna kill you. Doc's gonna...
Helen, is that okay? Can we say can we say that K word right there?
It was metaphorical.
Ah, okay. As long as it's metaphorical, I think she's okay with that. But migrating away from the NFL, actually, we was in the NFL for a while, actually. And heading into the world of MMA, the big news there.
Or my realm.
Yes. John Bones Jones, the current defending, undisputed UFC light heavyweight champion. Not anymore.
So, Duke, I'm so happy you said this is your realm because I'm trying to understand, and we were talking about this earlier.
Go for it.
Why? All right, so John Gotti said that there's a person on Twitter named John Jones who's getting a lot of hate mail. And for the life of me, I'm trying to figure out why these people are necessarily
probably shouldn't
mad.
say it like that, but okay.
These persons.
Yes. These persons. The people on social media.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Whatever.
Just tell you because Hella gave me that look, like the Eddie Murphy look when there was like, okay, now clap your hands if you're loyal to your woman, and then the girl turned around like, you better clap your hands, you better stomp your feet while the match.
Fine. The demographic that was tweeting to the fake John Jones.
Yes.
Very common name.
Right.
It's very
Why
common.
would they be sending such hate mail to, even if it was the real John Jones? Like, what is the purpose of that? John Gotti said it could be the money. My thing is he has to live through this. He's the one that lost the title.
Well, there's two reasons why. One is always about the money because people do bet on this sport. They bet thousands upon thousands of dollars. So you're messing with the exactly. Like you're messing with people's livelihood. So really don't want to do that.
Wait, but how is he messing with people's livelihood?
Because
they put money on him for fights and stuff like that. Like they already have certain fights already planned out ahead. You did not go and say, oh my gosh!
I'm sorry. What if he decided he didn't want to do this anymore and he just retired yesterday?
Okay. That is a very different situation as opposed to I have money on this fight. I won my money and it has now been overturned.
How do you can't take money back?
Have you ever met a bookie? Have you ever met a bookie?
I wouldn't give them. I wish a bookie would come back to me.
Hilarious.
He didn't lose them. Listen, he was stripped of the title. They never said that I didn't see anywhere that the fight was overturned. It just says that he was tested.
And this is very true. The ruling has
been. Think about it. Brock Lesnar was tested and got called, but he didn't lose the match.
And that is very true. But at the same time, you also have to consider what people are actually betting on.
Oh, and I just sent both of you the screenshot of that tweet.
Let's see this now. Wow, for 5 years, huh?
5 years.
Well, I didn't get it.
It's Messenger.
On Facebook?
Yes.
Ah, you sly doggy.
Well, I mean, Chris was supposed to handle it, but he was taking too long.
This is the worst.
But the second reason why, this has such an impact as well too, because it also hurts the integrity of the sport. I mean, we talk about how much, how much gripe the NFL is getting. Well, MMA isn't too far away with how many people are getting caught doping up or being caught with a banned substance.
This is so stupid because this guy doesn't even look like. Oh god.
Because they don't look at the autocomplete when they type in the person's Twitter handle.
And that sounds like the people that I should say those people about.
That's fair.
No.
Now we're just quantifying it to stupid people.
Right.
I mean, okay, these stupid people is better.
Yeah. But I mean, to go back to your question, it is not only that, but it is also sadly becoming the culture now of, it started with the internet trolls, and now it has just turned into anybody on the street feeling like, I'm anonymous because I can say what I want, walk away 5 minutes later. Yeah, you might know what I look like, but you don't know my name. You don't know where I live. You can't come track me down. That's how we get all these viral videos of people just losing their ish in the middle of a Walmart.
Got it. That makes sense. I could understand that.
I got nothing on that one.
Yeah, to me it just was like, wow, I can't believe they're hating on the guy like that. But I heard the buzzer, Chris. I heard it.
Yeah, he wants us to go to the next one because we're transitioning from the world of MMA into another contact sport, boxing. We have the biggest match of our century, or that's how they're trying to pitch it to us.
Well, the only reason that it's the biggest match is because this could lead Floyd to 50 wins. That's it. That's it.
Well, la-dee-da.
And I mean, I hate that they're doing this because this does seem, and you look over to Helen just to make sure, this does seem a little Great White Hype-ish.
Great White Hype-ish. I see what you did there.
I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen that movie. It's a really old one.
Yeah, it's pretty
old.
Yeah.
Good old Terry Conklin was supposed to knock out Damon Wayans' character.
Yep.
And even though he got bigger and, everything, he still lost.
Yep. And then post-match, someone knocked him out.
Someone in there, they went only in America.
Yep.
Dang.
But what do you guys think? I'm so torn between this fight. I'm not spending $100 on it. I know that.
Okay, so despite the fact that we're not going to shell out $100, we're going to find a way to watch it. Be sure that if you try to watch it away from actually buying it, make sure it's legal, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give our predictions.
That's what I said. I don't want to go first. I have to hear everybody else's.
Duke, let's start off with you.
I am going to put my money on McGregor, and I will tell you exactly why. If you look at the stats, McGregor should win this fight.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the history of the fights between the two, and I even mean back before UFC when McGregor was semi-pro / boxing, he just held a better record statistically.
Mm-hmm.
You also factor in the fact that McGregor's a lot younger, and even though Mayweather is fast, how much of that stamina will he still have in the tank? At the same time, the argument could be made that McGregor's max fight length is about 25 minutes, give or take.
True.
Which he has never seen the end of.
Yes.
True.
So, stamina, we'll call that a draw. But McGregor has also had more knockouts than Mayweather. Again, going back to the semi-pro and boxing days.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna put my money on McGregor for this one, and it's not gonna be a lot. We're talking sock money here.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna put it on McGregor.
Got it.
Doc?
No. I gotta go last on this one.
You want me to go next?
Yeah, plus.
Okay, so looking at it, it's easy for people to say that Mayweather's going to win. He is the defensive genius of the sport, pound for pound, the best in the world. That being said, and of course McGregor is, lightning in the bottle He definitely did some amateur boxing before he went to MMA, and now he's going back into boxing. He does have an issue with the stamina. He didn't necessarily have the chance to, well, at least according to a lot of the news articles, to continually go an entire 12-round set. So, of course, the stamina part, it's going to be very, very hard. Meanwhile, Mayweather, he pretty much lost a step. Of course, he's going for win number 50, so, you know, two things is possible there. That all being said, I'm going to agree with Duke and say that Conor McGregor will not only beat Mayweather, but Mayweather will suffer his first knockout.
Well, and actually, let me go ahead and add a caveat to that too. Mayweather kind of has a varied history of cherry picking fights.
Yes.
So that whole 50 win thing,
it's really like 35.
You know, well, when you really look at the opponents that were worth him fighting at the time.
Yes.
I think that we could narrow that down just a little bit.
But here is why McGregor will win this fight. He will win it in under 6 rounds.
I definitely believe he will try.
Because he's going to want to end the fight. He needs to end the fight.
Yes.
Sugar Ray mentioned today on Undisputed that the biggest advantage that McGregor could have against Mayweather is to basically almost make it a street fight, make it a brawler type of fight instead of a traditional pugilistic fight. And what I mean by that is Mayweather is an outboxer, and this is the part I love about boxing. McGregor's style will be a little bit more of a swarmer, and swarmers using the triangle method of boxing, you know, there's swarmers, there are outboxers, and then there's brawlers. And if you haven't had a chance to watch the Screw Attack episode of TJ Combo versus Balrog, they also mentioned that as well too.
Excellent episode.
Like, great episode. But it's the same concept. Swarmer beats outboxer. We haven't seen Mayweather get hit a lot in his career. Towards the beginning, yes, absolutely. But towards the end, not so much, because as Duke mentioned, there was a lot of cherry picking. If McGregor was able to swarm him, trap him in the corner, and make him feel uncomfortable for the first 2 rounds, there's no way that Mayweather is going to win just based off of points. It's just not going to happen. For Mayweather to win just based off of points, if McGregor is going to swarm him the entire match, he's going to get his licks in. It's not going to change.
Right. And the thing about him is that he can take a hit as hard as he gives one.
Exactly. And he mentioned that on a lot of his post-training, I don't want to say podcasts, press conferences. You know, he's given pain, but he also receives a lot of pain as well too, and he has to learn how to fight through that pain to help him win matches. Like, we've seen him get his behind whooped and still win matches.
Right.
That's something we haven't seen from Mayweather in a long time. So that's why I'm going to go with McGregor. I feel like if he could constantly keep on the pressure, he can make Mayweather make a mistake.
My turn, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
And I gave a really good, deep boxing analysis to help you out, too.
I don't think it's the analysis that I needed. I think, of course, Mayweather is one of the best defenders ever. Like, one of the best defensive-minded boxers that I've ever really seen. I mean, his movement, by far, it's always been great. But when you're going against somebody who
I don't want to say he's the best defensive boxer. I mean, he's probably more the smartest defensive boxers, because there's some boxers back in the day that can bob and weave like no one's business.
I will say there was some great bob and weavers, but I would even say even Muhammad Ali got hit more than Mayweather.
Muhammad Ali was still a heavyweight, though.
That's also true.
He did still lightweight, heavyweight, bobbing and weaving is bobbing and weaving. You get me there. I'm
totally.
Sorry, but
we're gonna have to have a conversation after the show about how is it different between a heavyweight.
Is bobbing and weaving.
Duke, you wanna
differential.
You wanna
differential is the only thing that's different, but so is the height. So I mean, it would be the same thing.
Yeah, but I would be in Mayweather's weight class, and I height him by a lot.
But could you hit him? Is the question.
And I'll be a swarmer. I'll be a higher between an outboxer and a swarmer.
But he's been swarmed before.
He's been swarmed. He's been brawled. He's been outboxed to outbox. Absolutely.
And a lot of people don't hit him.
And a lot of people don't hit him. But that was when he was in his prime, which he is not doing coming into this fight.
The last couple. I mean, the only thing I think the knock against him really is he hasn't fought in 2 years. But I feel like that's the length of a lot of boxing training, is that they don't fight in a year and a half, and that's the part that's so crazy, that he got to even close to 50 wins.
Okay, but let's not sidebar, because I have this feeling that you're trying to do whatever. What is your prediction?
I wasn't. You interrupted me. You interrupted me, sir. But it's a tough one, man. Like, I really feel like Mayweather is one of the best defensive boxers in history. I mean, he's quick. I don't think it's his foot speed. It's just his natural ability to predict where the punches are coming from. The one thing is, with McGregor, I mean, we're talking about something completely different. We're talking about somebody who's a fighter. You know, we're not talking about a boxer's chance, like a puncher's chance. We're talking about a fighter. Like, this guy fights for a living.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it gets a little different. So I'm going to put my money on McGregor also.
Wait, you just went all that craziness, and then you just said McGregor at the end. What the heck?
That's why I don't know why you were interrupting.
Well, when you said that he's one of the best defenders, I'm like, I mean, he's probably the smartest defender, but not the best.
He is one of the best defensive boxing minds ever, boxing period. But you're talking about boxing. We're not talking about fighting.
Yes.
And McGregor's coming to fight. He might not be able to throw no knee strikes or kicks.
Or elbows.
Which would be hilarious if he did.
It would be. But also, rewind McGregor's tape, very few of his knockouts have come from kicks or knees.
Yes.
Right. Most of them have come from that southpaw.
I just believe that it's going to be interesting. I think McGregor's going to win. A lot of people are going to be shocked. I feel bad for the people who are going to spend their $100 on it.
Well, not really. Because as of today, as of 3 hours ago, 95% of all bets placed have been on McGregor.
Yep.
He started out at 30-1, and now it's 95.
Although, wouldn't it be crazily ironic and a bad dose of harmony if we end up finding out that they fixed the fight?
It would be.
I wouldn't put it past Dana White, but
because Floyd could just come back and do this fight all over again and just
exactly
$100 for, Mayweather, Gregor too. I mean,
Pacquiao.
I see what you did there.
Oh my God! I heard the buzzer. I heard the buzzer. I heard the buzzer.
Well, switching gears from one combat sport into another, but this one's more of a highly entertaining value. See what I did there? We had NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 2 this past weekend, and it was a really good show. I didn't really have much to complain about it.
I think I gave it an 8. You gave it a 9.
I gave it a 9. It was definitely getting towards that 9.5. So far, NXT events has received the highest ratings from myself and the doctor.
Agreed. I like the...
Oh, we're just going to go through each match.
No. I just wanted to... we could definitely do that. I just like... Even though you could tell it's a developmental brand to an extent, developmental brand. And I say that because they're learning the WWE way. Not so much that they need development, but it has this ECW amateur TV look to it, and I love that about it. But let's go through the matches here. We got Andrade versus Johnny Gargano.
Johnny wrestling.
Which I thought the match was really good.
What a excellent way to open up a pay-per-view. That is the right way to start a pay-per-view. A nice, good technical match. Despite the ending, which was a great heel way for him to win, it was a great opening match.
Can I just say that, just looking at it, I would have never even thought that there were only 5 matches.
Exactly.
Like, looking at it now, like 5 matches.
5 matches in 2 hours.
12, 13 minutes apiece. Like, I would have never even thought that these, like, it was just such a good match. The move sets were great. I thought the way they handled themselves were really, really good. It was a good match.
It was a very good match.
Good kickoff.
I mean, if I was to give it a grade, I would give it an A. It was, like, fantastic. No complaints here. No botches or anything like that.
Definitely.
Duke, I don't know if you had a chance to watch any of this stuff, so if you want to chime in, by all means, chime in.
I actually didn't, but I'm going back to the recaps now.
It was a good one. At first I didn't think I was going to get a chance to really get to watch it, but some time opened up and I was able to watch the whole thing. And going into the next match, with Sanity versus the Authors of Pain, and this is something last week that we talked about, and really thought that the Authors of Pain would win this one and then lose maybe the next one and then be pushed to the main roster. But I think it's too premature to push it to the main roster because of the turmoil in the tag team division, and now they're just kind of throwing people together. So
that and plus they're still rather green.
And I think you mentioned that last week, the whole greenery. But that match was good too.
It was great. I like the swerve of Eric Young taking the place of Killian Dane. I was about to call him Dane Killian because that's what he's called in WCPW when he wrestled there. But it was such a nice, good swerve in the match. I had the chance to speak with other people on the Game Runners as well as Twitter. Nikki Cross is absolutely astounding. She is so beautiful.
I saw that.
Like, wow.
And she was my dark horse to be Sister Abigail.
I think if they really, really wanted to, and Sister Abigail was at its peak, she would have definitely been like perfect for it.
Because she was Crazy Mary Dobson.
Yes.
And I think I mentioned that to you when they were first mentioning it. She would have been the perfect Sister Abigail. But I mean, technically, they could still swing it that way. Sanity is one of those things, and they could kind of have her heel turn or whatever turn you call it. But a lot of people were doing this whole Nikki Cross's cute thing. It was kind of weird. They weirded me out.
She actually is really cute. Like, if you had a chance to not see her like crazy face, like, she's actually really cute. But the match itself, I did say it was going to be a great physical match, and it didn't disappoint. It was physical. Eric Young, so like he's old Slick Rick himself.
Yeah, he was good. He was really good.
And the spot towards the end where Nikki Cross got herself involved into the match, Paul Ellering went into the ring as well too. She had the referee be distracted with Paul Ellering. She jumped off the top rope, got caught, and then, I mean, she went through the table. I think King Ross said it was Nikki Cross got caught in a manly sandwich.
Yeah, big sweaty manly sandwich.
And Sanity walked away, and it is your new NXT Tag Team Champions.
I like the move. I like it.
But after the match, we had two gentlemen from a different company make their premiere debut on actual television, because they also play some wrestling some Dark Horse matches. Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish, aka Red Dragon, hit the ring and absolutely obliterated both the new champions and the Authors of Pain. What a way to create a statement.
No, absolutely. And again, it's one of those things we talked about. If there's a way for the news to stop spreading and there can be an element
of surprise. Yes.
I think that would have, it would have made the whole thing so much better. Like, we knew that these people were coming. It was just a matter of time. And then, like, the inklings of information just started pouring in. And then, like, oh, well, this might happen tonight. This might happen tomorrow. And what you read before was probably correct about one of the next matches with Asuka, but we'll get to that once we get there. It probably was correct, but because of the injury, it probably slowed it. It probably changed the course.
Yes, but great for this match.
I think this was a 9. That table broke kind of weirdly. No, I give it a 9 though. Tag team matches, I don't think are ever going to be perfect.
Understandable. Duke, anything you want to share?
A 10. I give it a 10.
A motherfucking 10.
10. I'll give it a solid 8. There's a couple of things that could have definitely improved, but it was still a really solid match though. Like, nothing too glaring that makes me want to, drop its grade by a significant amount, but we'll get there in the next section. The next match we had is Aleister Black, someone who the doc is really high on now.
It's my favorite match. I
versus Hideo Itami,
who is not the former Cruiserweight champion.
No, he is not, and thank you very much, Helen, for reminding him about that before the show, because we did not want to have those issues.
No, we don't. I'm not going to lie to you. I was pretty impressed with the strong style in this match. I thought somebody could have died here and there. Aleister Black was bleeding within the first 5 minutes of the match. I mean, it was so crazy. The kicks were crazy. And that black mass, although it be simple, it's effective.
Yes.
And I like it. I would use it.
This is how you book a proper undercard match of Rising Stars. This is exactly how you do it. Now that, and we'll talk about that in the SmackDown recap, but now that, certain pieces are moving on, it allows other pieces to start rising up. The proper building foundations for new stars.
Absolutely.
But
I'll give it a 10.
It definitely gets, give it a 9.5.
10. Like he said, 10.
A 10!
I give it a 10.
So we're just breezing through this whole thing. The next match is my match of the night. You said yours was the previous match. This one is my match of the night. The NXT Women's Championship match. They had the champion, Asuka.
8.
Versus Ember Moon.
I love the finish with the submission as far as how she lost. I'm glad she didn't get pinned because I didn't think she deserved to get pinned. I think after she hit her move off the top rope. The Eclipse, aka the old face? Yeah. Right. And even, she probably gave one of the best super kicks of the year. I mean, of the year.
In WWE or in wrestling, period?
Any wrestling that I've seen. Probably one of the best super kicks of the year.
Okay, because I get what you did. I see what you did there.
It was so good. Like, it was so good. Like, I was just like, ooh, she's got to win after that one. And when she didn't win, I was like, it dropped down to an 8 for me right there. But the Asuka lock is, of course, she's becoming John Cena, and I get it.
I think they're booking her better than the way they did Super Cena, though. Like, they learned from their mistake with Asuka.
It's easier for them to do this now because of so many people that they pushed. Like you said, they waited so long for Roman that by the time they pushed him, it was too late.
It's too late to apologize. It's too late.
This is pretty good though. I mean, we're gonna see, how this goes. But I give it an 8.
The ring chemistry and that's one of the things I always look at for a match when grading it, is absolutely glorious.
Not glorious.
Glorious. I mean, both of them brought it. They was able to just feed off of each other. This one has to get a 9.5. Just get a 9.5.
Think there's a future tag team up in the future?
Between them two, probably not. They're better as enemies than as friends.
Definitely. Definitely.
They're way better as enemies. Like, they are the equivalent of what Bayley and Sasha was before they went to the main roster.
True. They could have main evented this pay-per-view. That's very
Like,
true.
If I can make a controversial statement, this match was better than Sasha versus Bayley.
No.
Yes.
No.
The first Sasha versus Bayley. This was better than that.
Nope.
Yes. Yes.
Not even close. Not even close. You had me until you said that.
The only reason I even bring that up is because there is a long history of established enemies needing to team up for some reason or another. And I feel like it always happens whenever you get a good balanced chemistry between the two, i.e. Stone Cold and The Rock.
Yep.
Or The Rock Triple H.
I mean, even recently, we talking about Sheamus and Cesaro.
Exactly. So, I can see them pushing that at some point in the future. That, someone is going to make a turn. These two are going to have to team up for some reason, even if it is just the one fight. And it could potentially be epic, again, because of the chemistry.
I can agree with that, but the problem is they're both face. There's no one that's a heel in this whole thing, so it's kind of hard for one of them to turn.
And I'm not saying that either of them are going to turn. But, again, it will... I feel like it's inevitable, but maybe not. It all depends on how the storyline plays out.
Yes, well, and they've been trying to push Asuka to be a heel, but the problem is the crowd loves her so much,
right,
that they can't, really make her that heel. Like, she's a good heel when she wrestled in Japan.
Yeah,
a very good heel. But we're now a WWE where people will cheer for the people they like and boo the people they dislike. Roman.
John Cena. I will say this here, though. I know that there is inklings that they're trying to do a women's tag team division. I don't know where they are in that, and if they're trying, if that's something that's going to happen in the future, or if that's somebody's pipe dream. But, I mean, it would be interesting to see if they do a tag team, because that would give more women something to do.
Yes, and I think that's probably our biggest complaint right now, is the fact that they have nothing to do.
Like, you can get Tamina something to do.
Years.
Yeah.
Some people you can get.
I would love a women's tag team championship.
Right.
I would love that. That would be absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I like that. Hopefully, being that we've been discussing so much in the show and Vince seems to be plugged in, it's that was my hand.
It was me all along.
It was me all along.
I'm sexy.
That was my hand.
Okay, so you gave the match an 8.
Yeah, definitely an 8.
Like I said, I gave it a 9.5. And Duke, did you give it something?
I will give it a solid 9.
Respectable. And then we had the final match of the evening. Wow, we're already breathing through this. The NXT Championship match. The champion, the glorious one, Bobby Roode, versus Drew McIntyre, who came out in a really pretty sweet, low-key entrance.
Mm-hmm.
Some of New York's New York's finest, playing his theme song down the ring.
I didn't know that he was so tall.
He is extremely tall.
Yeah,
I think he's like 6'5", 6'6", or something like that.
Yeah, I thought he was like 6'2".
No.
6. Yeah, so when he got in the ring, I was like, what the heck? And then that's why when I made the comment about his finisher, I was like, Cass could definitely pull off a boot. He just has to work on his delivery. This
needs to work on more than that.
Run around. I mean, yeah. But the last time I saw him do a boot, especially on the Big Show, he didn't pat the leg as much. So somebody must have told him about it.
He still does it. He still does it really obviously though, but that's the problem though. Like you gotta do it fast enough to where people really don't see it.
And I think he'll get better. Hopefully with this injury, he gets better. But
we'll get to that part. Let's wait on that.
But I only bring it up because of McIntyre's finisher.
Yes, the Claymore.
Yeah, that's the only reason. And it was a good match from start to finish. I thought their chemistry in the ring was good.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they told a great story. And, I mean, if I had to give this anything, probably another 8.5.
Duke, what do you think of the match?
Honestly, I liked it. There were a few slow moments in there. And, I agree with you. That's kind of when the mistakes come through glaringly. But the beginning and the end were pretty tight. And overall, I'd give it an 8.
I'm going to give it an 8.75.
Oh.
Here's why it lost a quarter of a point.
Mm-hmm.
I actually feared for Drew McIntyre's back when he did the Tope con Hilo. When he did that move, and he landed square on his back.
Is that the one where it almost looked like they were doing a code breaker?
No, that's the one where he's jumping outside of the ring, but he's jumping over the top rope.
Because I'm not sure. I think it was either this match or Itami and Black's match where someone went for a code breaker and they missed horribly. But I cannot remember which one it was. But you're talking about a completely different move, so carry on.
But that's the only reason why it didn't get a solid 9. Because of just that spot right there. I would say that's probably the only botch of the entire match. After the match, we had Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish enter. Not inside the ring, but they was on the apron. And then all of a sudden, the crowd's going crazy. What's going on? And it's Adam Cole, baby. Making his debut. Laying the work onto Drew McIntyre post-match. And he is posing with the NXT title in his hand as the show ends. Of course, they showed afterwards Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, and Adam Cole walking up the ramp. And he says, Adam Cole, baby, to much of the delight of the crowd. This opens up newer storylines, which is excellent. This is how a main event needs to happen. This is how you progress stories.
And it's kind of good because, and of course we're going to get here, but they kind of perfectly push Bobby Roode out.
Exactly.
So it was kind of perfect. But you gave it 8.75.
Yes.
And that's respectable.
So overall, what would you give NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 3?
Well, I gave it a 9.
9 overall?
I think I gave it an 8.5, 9.
Yeah.
I think you gave it a 9. I think I gave it 8.5. I didn't like the Asuka finish. I thought Ember Moon should have won. I thought she just deserved it.
I'm actually okay with all of the results. I'm okay with every single result.
That's the only one I'm not okay with. I love the Black Mass. The first match was good. Drew McIntyre. It was obvious Bobby Roode was gonna lose this one, but Asuka, I thought it was time, and yeah, I'm not even gonna say what I was about to say. I just thought it was time.
It's Veda. Tom.
Tom.
Although I will make the side note that during the Aleister Black and Hideo Itami match, my boy Malo Ronaldo, who is friends with me on Twitter, mispronounced a move that happened. It was a Avalanche Falcon Arrow, and he called it the Avalanche Michinoku Driver. We was quick to recorrect him, and Nigel McGuinness, who is always a trooper, definitely helped him out to identify the move correctly, because I thought I was losing my touch.
Hilarious.
I really did. I thought I was like completely losing it.
I get it. So
we go from the development, air quotes, to the main roster, and we have SummerSlam.
Do you want to start with the pre-show?
Let's start with the pre-show. We got to, because we had massive title changes, and that's part of it. So the first match is a 6-man tag team match where we had the Intercontinental Champion, The Miz, and his Miztourage, versus the team of Jason Jordan, or Little Baby Kurt, or however you want to call him, versus the Broken Ones, the Hardys, with The Miz and the Miztourage winning.
Which is pretty shocking, because I would have imagined that they would have been doing anything and everything in their power to push Jason Jordan here, and they put him in a losing effort.
They put him in a losing effort, but I see, listening to other people talk about it, I see why. They're trying to, pine him towards the IC title picture, and that's why they had Miz get the fall on Jason Jordan. But it gets a 4.
Definitely. And I skipped the first couple of matches here. I only saw some of the highlights. But only thing people talk about is the outfits that people were wearing. That's all I heard. I heard that, some of these guys have some great outfits on, and that's ridiculous.
And that's fun. We're going to breeze through the rest of these pre-show matches anyway. But the second match,
Neville defeated Tozawa, who was the Cruiserweight champion.
Who won it 6 days before. Yes, Helen is shaking her head. Yes, she's finally proving that.
There we go.
Who won it 6 days before SummerSlam, which makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. And then, not to mention that he ended up losing his rematch this past Tuesday on 205, which is just as stupid.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, oh, well, we're just going to add this little blip into Neville's title run.
Mm-hmm.
It gets a 2.
Next match.
The SmackDown Tag Team title match. The Usos are now the new SmackDown Tag Team Champions as they defeated the New Day. It's getting a mother-flipping 1. It was a great match. The match itself was absolutely great, but it was not pre-show worthy. And that's why it's getting a 1, because that's disrespectful to the performers.
They probably should have moved Big Cass and Big Show to the pre-show.
Yes. They just wanted to do that so they could show Enzo in his underwear. Oops. Spoiler alert. Don't care.
Nope.
Now we get into the main card. John Cena versus Baron Corbin in what is definitely a
pre-show match. Oh, it's a burial?
Yes.
You think so?
Yes, it was a burial. Absolute burial.
So you think, and that would make more sense if that makes more sense as to why he had to cash in his Money in the Bank so stupidly.
Exactly. And do you know why they're doing this to Corbin right now?
No idea.
Duke, do you happen to know why?
I do not.
So, Baron Corbin is in hot water because he said certain things that WWE didn't agree with towards a certain group of people.
Oh boy. People.
And by people, I mean people in uniform. By people in uniform, I mean armed servicemen.
Probably the top group of people next to cops that you don't want to mess with.
Yeah. I mean, let's get the Duke's initial, initial just feedback, just knowing about him saying something about servicemen.
I don't know why people keep doing this, and it's always hilarious to me that it is people, or it is usually those who have never put on a uniform of any type in their life that want to come out and say things that are totally but yeah, I typically choose not to acknowledge said idiots.
Yep.
Because they usually wind up like well, I won't say any names, but they usually wind up not being relevant in
Correct.
upcoming years. So we see that trend starting to happen again. And as sad as it is, I mean, you brought it on yourself.
Agreed.
A big fan base of the WWE and wrestling as a genre are service members. Why would you do that to yourself?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
I just figured let me at least get, some kind of feedback about this, because it just doesn't make sense. They do this stuff to themselves, and then they sit there and go, "Oh, woe was me." Like, you don't do this when you're an actual professional inside the workplace. Why would you do this if you're a wrestler? Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
You get carried away sometimes, man. It's what happens when you become not a person but a personality.
Yes.
A lot of times you forget that personality is not real. It's not you. I.e. The Miz doesn't sign The Miz on his taxes. So people just sometimes, I think they get carried away with the status and the celebrity that they have, or and I feel like all of us have probably experienced this at least once in our lives, where you have a large group of people that tend to listen to you, and you get wrapped up in the power of that and forget yourself for a hot minute.
Yes.
It's sad, but it happens. And it just because you're drunk and you shoot somebody, it doesn't excuse you from the fact that you shot somebody.
Exactly.
Just like, the fact that you were wearing spandex when you said this does not necessarily exclude you from having said it. So, oh, and you probably shouldn't blame the fire ants that your hand up when you stuck your hand in an anvil.
Hilarious.
Just, words of wisdom.
Just don't do that. Doc, what would you give this match?
I skipped it, but I mean, if he got buried, if it was a classic John Cena match, then I know Corbin probably beat him up for the first 5 minutes, and then John Cena came back and did his famous running shoulder tackles, you can't see me, and then somewhere in there an AA match set point.
I give this match a 0.
Yeah, it's like pointless.
It doesn't even hit the Richter scale for me. The next match is the SmackDown's Women's Championship match, where Natalya is the new Women's Champion by defeating Naomi.
It seems like this is probably where the pay-per-view really started.
I'll have to disagree.
Real wrestling. Really? Okay.
I liked the match, but it went from okay, and then it went down again with the next match. Like, it's not where stuff starts to pick up. Like, it began, but then it died. Then began again, and then it died. And then it still died, and then it started to pick up. But this match was a great technical match. We talked about this yesterday, about just Naomi's ability in the ring. With the idea that Asuka would have been going up to the main roster, and Ember Moon would have gone up to the main roster. And I said that I felt like Naomi could bring a better match against Ember Moon and or Asuka versus like Naomi, even though she is the most athletic woman in WWE. I feel like it wouldn't necessarily equate into a great match, though.
I thought it was a pretty solid match. Personally, I think, being that this is the match that I kind of came into, I think if anybody was going to win the title, I would have hoped that it would have been Natalya. I definitely am tired of seeing certain people winning the titles, and I'm pretty happy. I didn't really understand or like the whole crying thing. It kind of went unaddressed, and it was pretty stupid to me. I didn't like it. She's just sitting in the ring crying. Like, there's no crying. There's no crying, sir. She's crying.
Yo, I think he's about to cry. Yeah, apparently her tears are the only thing that doesn't glow.
Mm.
But what would you give this match?
Probably a 6. It wasn't like I said. I mean, it wasn't anything crazy, but I feel like the whole pay-per-view was about a 6. I mean, I feel like all of the matches just were lackluster. Even the just looking at just previewing the matches again in my mind, probably the best match of the night probably was AJ Styles versus Kevin Owens, and even that wasn't much better.
Yeah, we'll get to that one too. We'll get.
Yeah, like, I'm being honest. Like, I'm just looking at them, and I'm like, do I really even want to go over the rest of this recap?
Yes,
because
it's
like, it's really, really depressing. So I don't even know if I want to give a grade for any of them, the rest of them, because
the next match I'm not giving a grade because it's just not gradable. It's getting an NA.
Joke.
It's getting an NA.
Yeah, it's a joke.
For this match though, I'll give it a 5.
Yeah.
Like, it was just middle of the road for me.
Mm-hmm.
The next match, the only highlight of this whole match was Enzo taking off his clothes and decided to lube himself up to get himself out of a shark cage. To proceed to jump off the shark cage and get kicked in the face by Cass. Duke, you haven't missed anything at all. It sounds exactly the way I described it.
That's right.
Yeah, I caught that part.
Yeah.
Just a few big boots, that's all. And some handwork.
Helen, is that okay?
I mean, that was it. He was working on his hand.
I don't feel like you can use the words lube, boot, and
hand exactly.
Sentence. It's just.
I didn't say lube. Did I say lube? I don't think I said lube.
Oh, I said lube, but then you said big boots, and then it turned into hands, and it kind of meshed together.
I said it was some handwork.
Yeah, like it. You know what? It just immediately brought me back to the old Divas promos.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
So. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Live TV, let's move on. Then we had the other women's championship match for the Raw side, or the Red brand, where Sasha Banks is a four-time Raw Women's Champion, defeating Alexa Bliss.
That was a bit of phrasing right there, too. But, yeah.
Whoop-de-flip-and-do.
I feel the same way.
It should be somebody else. Like, it should just be somebody else.
It's a 6. It's a 6. It's a 6.
Yeah,
Good ring psychology, but it just felt lackluster.
Yeah, it's just becoming, and I'm sure Alexa Bliss is just going to win the title back. So
and that's the problem.
Yeah.
So next match.
I guess that's where Asuka was supposed to come in.
Nah, probably not. I don't know. It's something. I don't know. The next match, or lack thereof, because it was only 9 seconds.
Oh, God.
Randy Orton defeating Rusev.
That's another NA. I hope he gets his release.
See, I'm gonna give it a letter grade. It's gonna get an F.
I hope he gets his release.
It's getting a F minus.
Like, I really do hope that he gets his release from the WWE.
Like this match is so bad, it doesn't even get a grading scale from 0 to 100. It gets into the negatives.
Wow.
Like, the way the RKO went, and I don't know if you saw it, Duke, but it was like...
In fact, he can literally watch it right now. Like, we can wait.
I'm not even going to waste the bandwidth.
My thing is...
here they come to the ring. Oh, Rusev attacked from behind. Oh, they got back in the ring. Oh, Randy Orton might be hurt. Oh, no. Oh, he's going to say he's going to wrestle in the match. He got up on the turnbuckle. The referee rang the bell. Rusev dives in. Randy Orton ducks. Rusev turns around. RKO, 1, 2, 3. I hear voices in my head.
My thing is, I hope they didn't get paid for that.
They got paid for that. A lot of money. Randy Orton got paid bank for that.
It's so stupid. I hated it so bad.
Like, I would rather see Hulk Hogan defeat Yokozuna again at WrestleMania 9. And that's bad.
Shame.
Next match.
Honestly, I wouldn't waste Chris's time with that.
Yeah, let's just keep going. Let's keep going. Next match is Bray Wyatt against, and they had to put this in quotes.
The Demon.
The Demon, Finn Balor.
A waste of space. The whole match. 5.
So, for those out there, I'm pretty kind of wise in wrestling. I really enjoy talking about my sports and stuff like that. The one thing that I really hate is seeing things that I'm highly anticipating seeing being done for free. And then getting a watered down version of the same thing I just got finished seeing for free. It's why we never see boxing matches the Friday before a Saturday fight.
Right, because that's what they gave us. Yeah.
And that's exactly what this match was.
The
only thing that was different was the Demon. But there was nothing else different.
The match was so lackluster. Usually all of his good matches, he loses the paint. The paint didn't even chip off his chest after several chops.
Exactly.
I mean, it was really terrible. Get
like,
that crap out of here.
You gotta sell the clothes. You gotta sell the toys. Well, how am I supposed to do that? So, it gets a 3.
I give it a 5.
It gets a 3. Just because they gave it to us on Monday. They gave us the Monday beforehand. It gets a 3.
I didn't see those coup de grace, so I gave it a 5.
It gets a 3. Yeah, I understand, though. But now is where the pay-per-view officially begins, which is terrible.
Yeah.
We had the Raw Tag Team Championship match where Sheamus and Cesaro lost their championship to the brand new Tag Team Champions, Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins.
See, I felt this match was lackluster because first, Seth Rollins just took a beating. Dean Ambrose was down on the floor for 15 minutes.
I'm surprised people didn't start chanting Dean is napping like how they did Roman.
I mean, he was literally like laying there for at least 5 to 10 minutes. At least. And then all of a sudden he came back in and hit a dirty deed somewhere in there.
I mean, sometimes you need a nap.
Sometimes you do need a nap.
Sometimes you need
power nap.
Sometimes you need a 6.
Sometimes. I'll give this match a 7. I feel like this was the most action-packed match of the night.
Yeah.
Like, this match literally got everyone to wake up. The biggest highlight was Sheamus. And I don't know if you had a chance to look at this part, Duke, but Sheamus, in a fit of rage, jumps into the crowd, or WWE Universe, however PC way you want to call it, and he grabs something from the crowd. Wondering what the heck is he grabbing?
Ball.
He grabbed the beach ball, and he destroyed the beach ball.
Mm.
To the delight of the onlookers online and the people on Twitter.
That is just poor customer service. That is what that is.
And very heelish.
That is the fans trying to hijack the show, because it was a really good match. But the problem is, because the other matches were so lackluster, they are not invested anymore.
Mm-hmm.
True.
That's the main problem. They're not invested into the match anymore.
Agreed.
And I mean, that was a very good wake-up call. I will give them that.
It woke everyone up. It got people hyped, bro.
Keep going.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't.
But the match itself was, I thought it was great. It was a solid 7. It was I mean, and it's over 5, so it's still passing grade.
Sure. Let's give them a pass.
Its best of days is a D.
Exactly.
Right. Exactly.
Which is bad, because if the other undercard matches wasn't so terrible, it might have gotten a higher grade.
Right.
So they have only themselves to blame. WWE, Vince McMahon, Triple H, Kevin Dunn. I'm calling names out there too.
I don't blame you. In this next match, I mean, I thought the addition of Shane McMahon was going to make it a little better, but
it did not.
Worse. Like,
it did not. In fact, they would have had a better match without Shane.
Yeah, they could have brought out Earl Hebner, and I think it would have been perfect.
Ring the bell! Ring the bell!
It would have been perfect. I would have loved to see Ring the Bell.
The match itself, it gets a 6. The Shane factor just hurt it so much.
Yeah, it was. And then he fell out of the ring, and then the whole tapping thing.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that's stupid.
That was almost vomit-inducing, but not as vomit-inducing as the next match.
I was happy to see some Kinshasas at least, and then, the normal intro. But Jinder Mahal whispered into Shinsuke, "Hey, this is when I beat you." I don't know if you saw it, but it was like, "Hey, I'm about to beat you."
Yeah.
Like, it was so stupid, man. Like, seriously.
This match, as much as I love Shinsuke, as much as you love Shinsuke as well, too, it gets a 5. Because of the ending hurt it so bad because it was the same ending to the match as the other Jinder Mahal championship matches. Singh brothers interfere, they get laid out, and then the modern day Maharaja hit the Colossus for the 1, 2, 3.
It's starting to get to a point now. It's like, I think, and it was so crazy. I was like laughing hysterically in the restaurant on my wife's birthday because I was watching on my phone while I was sitting at the table.
Shout out to Baroness.
Inconspicuously, of course. Like, I wasn't like, "Oh my God, I'm in my phone." It was just sitting on the table. But the heartbreak of the fans that Shinsuke lost was so... Taste the ocean. It was so terrible. Like, the salt that poured out of that arena.
It was serious. It was a great way to give him heat, but it was just like, now it's overstayed its welcome.
They wasted his loss on Jinder Mahal.
Yes.
His first loss. Wasted. How pointless.
It was stupid. It was stupid.
And finally, the match that Joe didn't win.
Which you would think would bring down the score, but this is probably the strongest match of the whole night. Just because it was such a car wreck of spots.
It was. And Joe took all of those wrecks.
Yes, he did. It was really Joe and Brock.
And Joe took every move twice, I think.
Joe was like, "I'm a destroyer," and he just sat there and took it all in the face.
Directly in the face. A lot of handwork.
Of course, the highlight of the match was the emergence of Braun Strowman getting his seat at the main event table, where he gave 2 power slams to Brock Lesnar onto the announce tables, as well as dropped the third one on top of Brock Lesnar, where Brock Lesnar put up the X's, which was hilarious, and not, X gonna give it to you. And he got carted out of the ring area into the back. Of course, he came back, and
really quick, by the way.
It was pretty quick, but I mean, then again, they was kind of, getting close on time too. So, and of course, Brock won. The biggest surprise was Roman took the fall.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, it was it was a lot of. Joe tried to choke people out all match. I think Braun Strowman gave everybody a running power slam. I think everybody took a Superman punch.
Yep.
At least 2 people. No, I think all 3 of them took spears.
Yep.
And I think 2 people took the F5. So, I think Joe took one, and then Braun one.
No, only one person took the F5. He only did 2. It was both to Roman.
I think Joe. Maybe Joe didn't take.
I don't think Joe took one, but I might be wrong.
I feel like Joe might have taken one.
I think Joe took Germans.
Joe took so many.
Joe took everything in the face. But what is your grade for this match? Like I said, I'll give it an 8 because it was such a spot fest. It was the best way to end the pay-per-view. Like it was literally the best match of the night.
It was pretty funny. I'll give it an 8.
And
I hope it gets a 6, maybe even a 5.
The whole pay-per-view get a 4.
Yeah, I was about to say it's pretty rough. Those NAs take it down.
Yes.
Yeah. That just kills the average.
Yeah.
It kills the average pretty bad. But we was able to actually hit it right on time for the next subject, which is our Raw and SmackDown recaps.
The only thing that was stupid about Raw, I'll say, of course, you have Braun Strowman, like you said, being catapulted into the main event status here, which he probably will beat Brock if they don't do anything stupid at the next pay-per-view. Big Cass gets injured.
And you can't teach that.
You definitely can't. But their response...
I guess being 7 foot tall hindered him this time.
But their response... that's funny. Their response for the injury, sending Enzo to 205.
See, this is where I want to stop you. The plan was already to bring Enzo to 205. He was going to arrive the next day.
I mean,
because because he had more heat because he mentioned it already.
That's the thing that's kind of weird because it's one of those things where now you don't have a choice but to send him to 205.
Exactly.
And I think sending him over there, I thought was a great move. And who knows at this point if Cass is really hurt.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they might have just needed to really get him out of there because he was stinking up the joint.
Well, they say he has an ACL injury. I don't think you want to play around with that.
Nah, I had an ACL injury.
I mean, that's because you're the person who tells people to taste the ocean. I mean, that's totally different.
Taste the ocean. But other than that, I mean, I see Jason Jordan went one-on-one with not the Demon, but just Finn Balor.
That was also a waste of time.
I mean, is Finn Balor also in this IC picture, you think?
If he was, he would have already been in there already. I think they're trying to turn Jason Jordan heel, which is probably the best thing for him right now. Him turn heel. Because it's not working. It's not working anymore. It was cute when the reveal happened, but now it's just a hindrance. Just like how Enzo Amore, it was cute for the first 2 years when he came up to the main roster, now it just became annoying. Take it however you want.
Oh no, you don't have to say anything. I mean, I definitely get it. Let's see. Anything else here?
John Cena returned to Raw.
I thought that was stupid. I hate his free agent status.
I wish I could tell you something else, bro. It's poopy.
I mean, anything else stand out to you?
For Raw? The fact they did the John Cena, I guess they're trying to plant the seeds for John Cena and Roman Reigns to have a rivalry against each other. You know, Joe was great in the segment that the actual talking segment, and even during the match. You know, of course, 205 is being 205 by just putting everyone together. Basically, 205 is the new Divas division.
Does John Cena beat Roman Reigns?
No. But him beating John Cena will help catapult him to have more heat, which is, I believe, what they're trying to get now. But then afterwards, John Cena is going to try to lift up his hand, and it's going to be Royal Rumble all over again.
You can't see him. You can't see him.
Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose had a really good match against the Hardy Boys. It was a lot of fun to watch. The finish, I want to say it was a little botchy. I can't really describe why it was botchy though, but like just watching it the first time, I was like, I feel like they kind of stumbled at the finish line. But it was still a solid match, though. It was a very good, solid match.
Got you. Yeah, we can. I don't know. It's like I said, to be a pay-per-view to be the Raw and SmackDown after the pay-per-view. Of course, you're expected your normal rematches, but it's not as good as it normally is.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how the good folks at Four Eyes Podcast did with this one.
Well, hopefully you can finally join them.
Sorry, I lost audio for
I feel like that was probably done on purpose. I said you should just join them one week then.
Chris. Audio. Chris, why don't you knock it off?
Right.
So you're playing on the soundboard and stuff.
Oh my gosh, terrible. But I feel like the SmackDown, if you had to compare those two, SmackDown had the better. Wow. He is seriously trying to do the wow.
Yeah.
That's terrible. It's not working though.
Taste ocean.
I don't think they can say that,
Ellen. Oh god, looks like it's fixed now.
Terrible.
But yeah, SmackDown. SmackDown
was way better.
It was
way better.
Obviously, you had more Kinshasas, and that's always good.
Kinshasas for days. Kinshasa for days.
And then we had the glorious
Bobby Roode make his debut to the main roster in a winning effort against Aiden English.
That's what I was going to say. I didn't like him fighting against Aiden English because I think Aiden English was getting a little bit of a push, unless that's what the build-up was for.
That was the build-up for. That was the whole thing for.
That's stupid.
It's a thing. Then we had another debut, or return, or however you want to call it. Shelton Benjamin returning to be Chad Gable's new partner.
I don't like that part.
I get a feeling they're setting them up for them two to have matches against each other, which I think is going to be incredible because they have nothing else for Gable right now.
I agree.
They have nothing else for him right now. So at least doing that will help project his name because he's doing way better than his old tag team partner. I'll tell you that right now.
True. It's true. But I mean, that whole partnership was always Gable.
It was Gable that really projected it out. I mean, NXT, you would see they're really chanting for Gable, not really for Jordan. Then we had your boys, the Hype Bros, in a losing effort against the Usos. It was a okay match. I mean, it's exactly what you would expect on a free TV tag team match.
And you know that the Hype Bros are just not there yet. I don't know what... Again, there's so many tag teams. I just don't know... I don't know how... I don't know who's going to give life to both divisions, in Raw and SmackDown. They need tag teams that are going to give them life. And they kind of lost that by splitting up some of the factions. So it's like, who is going to provide that spark? Nobody ever. I never would have thought Sheamus and Cesaro would have worked the way it does right now. But it does.
Yeah, you just have to give it a chance, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Dave was hinting that the Hype Brothers were going to break up and actually, have a series of matches together. It looks like they're not heading toward that direction because there's nothing else being said about it. So that's the waste of a good storyline.
Right, it definitely
that would have been a great way to get your boy Mojo Rawley out there into the East.
Right.
Didn't happen. Of course, we talk about Shinsuke Nakamura getting his just revenge against the Singh brothers.
And then the Kinshasa.
It was basically a squash match.
Which, that's cool. And then, of course, the rematch between... I'm sorry, I skipped the women's match here.
Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute, it was a tag match right there.
Sorry. Becky Lynch and Naomi versus Carmella and Natalya, which still don't know why Carmella didn't casher.
Because she's stupid. And they're going to save it for like Survivor Series or WrestleMania.
The last kicker. It's so funny to say, last kicker. I
mean, the match is exactly what you would expect.
Yeah. They just kind of threw a tag team match together and said, hey, you guys are wrestling tomorrow.
Exactly. Like, it just, nothing. I felt like nothing was accomplished. Almost diva caliber right there.
Mm-hmm. And then I guess that's when you saw Tozawa versus Neville somewhere in here.
That was on Raw that they announced it, but it was 205 Live that they had the match.
Got it. And I guess they must have played a clip of it on SmackDown.
Yes. And I guess the interesting part is Dolph Ziggler's segment.
Right, that's what I was. It looks like there were a few segments here where it was like Ziggler, Corbin, Lana. It's like a few little segments here. It's crazy, man.
I kind of don't want to talk about the Lana Tamina segments because they're both as charismatic as a dead worm on a hot summer day in Arizona.
Empty beer in the garbage.
Like a freshly cracked egg on the asphalt on an Arizona street. Out in Phoenix.
That's some character. Careful with that one.
Yeah, until it starts burning. Yeah. It's like a flash in the pan, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. It was like, oh, you're here. Oh, wait, why are you still here?
Game time, Kobe.
Get out of here. Get out of here right now.
That's not my hat.
But Dolph Ziggler, I guess they're repackaging him, and I guess he's going to become a joke character, I guess, because he's going to be mimicking other people, apparently. So he'll be the Damien Sandow of 2017.
He's been doing that for this whole career in WWE, being Shawn Michaels. So
Shawn Michaels.
Really understand. Oh. Yeah, like it's kind of weird, but whatever.
It's not a sweet kin.
Can we talk about this phenomenal forearm?
Yes, let's talk about your favorite move, the phenomenal one.
I will say his Styles Clash at SummerSlam wasn't as bad as it normally was.
That's because he did on Kevin Owens.
Yeah, and he took it like a champ.
And he also made sure to not tuck his chin down.
Yeah, a lot of handwork.
Which I don't know if you know, Duke, but the Styles Clash is basically a body splash, but the person pick him up like a power driver.
It's a lot of leg. It's a lot of leg movement. A lot of leg spreading.
Oh gosh. I think Helen's okay with that one. But basically, the move is dangerous because
a swear jar.
I was just thinking of that because I actually had the chance to watch some Defenders before the show, and all I could think about is just a swear jar, which I didn't like the action, sir.
Me?
To Duke.
You didn't like my action?
No, the action in the Defenders series.
Oh, the show on the Netflix? I didn't start watching it yet. I heard it was pretty good.
I didn't like the action. Like the little, back and forth between each of the Defenders, that was probably the best part of the whole show.
I mean, honestly, that's the best part of the comics. So...
Yeah. Like, you're right about the script being lackluster, but the action is just... Ugh.
I mean, there were a few good parts in there.
Huh? See, you're trying to convince yourself.
Yeah, I hate being that guy.
You're trying to convince yourself. And I don't want you to feel like that because, I understand where you're coming from, but no. I'm sorry. It doesn't work. It's very pleasant-inducing, basically.
Pleasant-inducing.
But basically, if anyone was to... So it requires cooperation from both wrestlers. If the person taking the move isn't making himself prepared for the actual splash part of the move, he can basically break his neck. Like, it's near death, basically. Mm-hmm. It can basically kill you. if you take it
Fair
correctly.
So basically, but he didn't have to do that. He won with the Styles Clash, so that was
Because Kevin Owens one of the best wrestlers in the world.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that. And again, like I said, I just feel like the WWE, their writers don't know what to do with all the talent that they have.
Mm-hmm. But
it's too much, Vince. We have too much talent, Vince.
Well, they still have that issue, but then they only push the same 4 people every single time, and it's whatever. But the final match of the night, which was the Phenomenal One against Owens. For what it's worth, it was a great TV match.
The same match we got over the last 3 weeks.
Unfortunately. They had a little thing where Baron Corbin was going to be a special guest referee. Really didn't need him.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of still buried him with Shane McMahon basically emasculating him live on television. It's not like his sister with her massive lady balls.
Helen can't be happy about that.
No, but she's going to have to eat that one. She's going to have to eat that one because that's a thing. That's a thing.
I mean, what do you want Helen to eat here in this situation, Sarah? I'm just trying to make sure I understand.
Eat the Plez sandwich.
Eat the Plez sandwich.
I feel like we're turning a 2 and making it a 6.
Exactly.
Wow. But continue, sir.
It's like the 8 is still an 8.
Hilarious.
So Corbin, kind of was showing some favoritism. Shane McMahon came down. They got into altercation. Baron Corbin was like, "Screw you guys, I'm going home." Took off his official T-shirt, his official shirt, and then threw it at Shane McMahon, and then left. He took his ball and went home, basically.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And then it ended with a
Phenomenal
forearm.
Yep.
Crazy. Damn it, SmackDown.
It is finally about time, and this is the best way to end this feud so AJ Styles can have someone else to actually wrestle. The best way to do this.
But there's a 2-part to that, though, because they also moved John Cena, so now we know we're not going to get Cena versus AJ again either.
Thank goodness.
Right. So this is perfect.
That's above AJ's level.
That's perfect.
As far as Kevin Owens, I mean, I
mentioned that I thought he was getting buried, but
no,
we said it was too.
Because he still had quite a solid showing, and since he can't go after the U.S. title anymore, I can see him going after Jinder. Why not?
I don't want Kevin Owens to get beat by Jinder.
No, they're gonna have him win. He has to win. Either 2 things gonna happen with Kevin Owens. Either he's gonna go after Jinder for the title, and they showed this 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, where he did the run and save for his former best friend, and we don't mean Y2J, but the generic luchador himself, Sami Zayn. And they form a tag team together, which I think would be absolutely incredible.
It would be.
It'll be just incredible.
Wow. I can't believe you just said that.
I just said that. I don't feel bad about it either. But I think of the 2, that's the best case scenario for him.
I feel you. Kevin Owens, again, a lot of talent. The writers are just so lost. They just need to just start purging from other companies. Not just talent, but writers.
I would say, because they kind of do that right now with talent.
Nah, the talent's there. The writers are just not there. It's almost like the WWE is becoming the Clippers. They have all the talent, a whole bunch of talent. Unfortunately, they got Doc Rivers running the show.
Oh no! It's a shotgun blast.
They all can't be Belichick.
That was like a shotgun.
Vince McMahon right now is not looking like a Greg Popovich.
No, he is not.
He's looking like a Vinny Del Negro.
Wow.
No,
keep it going. Keep it going. I know you got more of these.
He had a spark when he started, but now he's just garbage.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, God.
So, do you want to talk about 205? Because the only thing that was
No, just the
discussion is Tozawa losing his rematch and Enzo making his big premiere.
Oh no, we stink again. No, we don't need to talk about that, man. It's big finish time.
I think it is too. I think we're going to stop the countdown early, sir. 5 minutes early. Yeah. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, because I think we went over on NFL so bad and NBA so bad that it just, those topics were so much more bigger and faster and 60-minute topics. And these topics were more of Doink the Clown.
Wow! That's my line.
That's my line.
Get But let's go into our final thoughts. Let's start off with the Duke. Do you have any final thoughts for the people?
I am super pumped. Well, I shouldn't say super pumped. I am definitely anticipating this McGregor-Mayweather fight.
Super pumped sounds like a lot of handwork.
Super pumped sounds like you're telling people to holler if you hear them.
Like these, just saying.
Continue.
Every time Helen gives me that look, I give her the Stevie Wonder. Just.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Lord mercy.
But yeah, I might have to actually dip into the old checking account and put some money on that one, because I feel like if nothing else, it is going to be entertaining. I will say that. It might be full of it, but it will be entertaining. And then as far as the NFL and NBA seasons, like, there's a lot of major change-ups / injuries that we already went over. So it'll kind of be interesting once we get out of the preseason to see how these rosters end up aligning and how the teams end up working together. So, I mean, it'll definitely be interesting the upcoming weeks here.
Doctor, floor is yours.
All right, so I do have a few final thoughts here. The first one that I found was interesting. I was on the treadmill, I think 2 days ago on Monday. Yeah, it was Monday. Interesting story here. Justin Verlander, who pitches to the Tigers, wish October was here, implied that he felt like the baseballs were juiced. And he basically was saying that he felt like there was something being done to the ball to make them go further, basically, because of the trend of home runs and how easily some of the guys are hitting the home runs. He doesn't feel like people are on steroids. He feels like there's something going on with the ball now to where it's flying a little further. The velocity is going a little further, which I thought was an interesting perspective on, of course, the whole juicing incident. My other thought here, obviously the Clippers hired a new general manager. As Doc Rivers did step down as general manager, which is just the first phase, and getting him out of there. And they bring in Michael Winger, who I believe was with the Cavaliers. He was with the Cavs. And I want to say he was also with the Thunder also. But interesting to see what happens there and the moves that they make. Always good to see different GMs get different jobs. The other news here, and this is the first time I've had multiple news like this, so please bear with your boy. The collective bargaining agreement. I know we talked about off stream here Roger Goodell potentially getting a extension into 2021. However, the NFLPA is really preparing for a lockout by 2020 if they can't agree to certain terms. And the president of the NFLPA, former Cincinnati Bengal tackle, oh God, I forgot his last name here. I am so sorry here. Hold on one second here. President Eric Winston, the former tackle, he played on the Chiefs and the Bengals. He's actually saying he wouldn't be surprised if the NFL didn't even exist in 20 years. And that is so crazy to me. But I could definitely see something like that happening with everything going on. The last news for me, clearly, college football is almost back. The college football rankings did release with the Roll Damn Tide as number 1 on the AP Top 25 and the Coaches Poll. Actually, looks like it was pretty accurate between the AP Top 25 and Coaches Poll between the first couple of picks. Alabama 1, Ohio State 2, Florida State 3, USC 4, Clemson 5, Penn State 6, and then the list starts to kind of go on and on from there. But I'm curious to see how this college football season, goes down this year. I'm going to try to definitely watch more games this year.
Excellent. I have 2, but it's all about the same subject. We're talking video games, ladies and gentlemen. The Injustice Fighter Pack 2 revealed earlier today. The hype is real if you are a big fan of Mortal Kombat, because we have the God of Thunder making his game return. He will be a selectable character in the Fighter Pack. The second is Mantis, who is the primary antagonist for Aquaman. The trailer looks absolutely incredible, but the biggest one, which all of the DC fanboys are creaming their jeans, is the addition of Hellboy, who looks absolutely sick. Like, the design itself looks absolutely fierce. Was a little confused because normally I see him, smoke cigars instead of cigarettes, but he was smoking a cigarette in the trailer, so I don't know what that meant.
Taking it light.
Yeah. I was like, maybe it's just the first time thing is either to throw a cigarette than a customized, cigarette or a cigar. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah. But, of course, he's going to be a very tanky kind of character. Deal out a lot of damage, but he'll have a high defensive HP as well, too. According to, places like IGN, the comic book, he might be a hybrid between, Bane, who is already in the game, and Red Hood as well, too. Lots of grappling. And, of course, some gunplay as well, too. So, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Hopefully, see a little bit more of him.
Definitely.
And the second one is Dragon Ball Fighter Z. I believe they are now finished with all of their characters. I'm actually pretty excited because they added Piccolo and also added a character that I really enjoyed from my childhood before they turned him into a little witch, minus the W and add a B, which is Gohan, Super Saiyan 2. So, those are all stuff for me to look forward to. And I guess the last sidebar is the Arika game. Once again, I had a chance to play this during EVO, in which, as the doctor said, I completely ruined someone's life because I destroyed them pretty free, which was not on purpose. They revealed a new character. I forgot to mention it. His name is Alan, which is basically a Shoto clone from Street Fighter, since Arika can't use Street Fighter characters. And he looks pretty fun to do. He actually says the name of the attack, so instead of him saying the stuff like Hadouken, he'll say Fireball. Instead of him saying Shoryuken, he'll say Rising Dragon. So he'll say the definition of the actual Japanese word, which is pretty sick. But I can't wait for that game to come out. I would love to get some more beta tests into it. Of course, upgrade my gear to allow me to play as well too. Me and Kyrie goes a long way back to EX2, and it's gonna be just a fun game. It's the kind of game where if you're button mashing, you can probably do some damage, and if you're highly skilled, you can definitely be number one. So. Those are my final thoughts. Let's hit the big finish. Tonight's track, in honor of the recovery from the 2-time Hall of Famer, 16-time world champion Ric Flair. The track title is called Woo, from our boy Mega Ran, from his The Returners album, featuring Philharmonics. Debuted out in 2014. We chose this one because the beginning of the track and the end of the track features some of Ric Flair's best promos. Which by itself is a treat. I mean, let's just be honest.
Oh, absolutely.
But
dude, I still got my glittered robe hanging in the closet.
Oh my gosh. Remind me not to look at that.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Okay, we might have to do something one week where we're gonna have Duke come in. We're gonna have Ric Flair music playing, and we're gonna have him walk out with that robe on. Like,
word.
I'm all for that.
On the back.
In fact, that might be our 100th episode. Our 100th episode, we're all gonna be in one place. We're gonna have the camera out, and we're gonna have someone introduce us, all coming out, and we're all gonna come out like wrestlers.
I dig it.
That would be sweet.
Or we could do what Walt Culture did and come out with the Evolution song with us singing the Evolution theme song.
Hey. Hit up on Twitter which one you want.
Exactly. At Debates Among Friends. Also like our Facebook page, facebook.com/Debates Among Friends. Make sure you smash that subscribe button, hit the like on this video, hit the bell to join our notification squad as well too. In addition to that, you can follow Doc Ocean at TLW on Twitter. You can follow myself at Ken86. Also follow our Instagram at Debates Among Friends. We're still working with Scott to get the finances to allow Duke to have his own Twitter page. It's still in the works.
In the meantime, just go to your local park, pick up a pigeon, slap your tweet onto the pigeon. It will find its way to me.
Oh, gosh.
Hilarious.
But that is our show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us as we discuss sports, give you our views, and offer our reads. We'll be sure to catch you every single Wednesday right here on YouTube and on Twitch. Once again, I am the Professor John Gotti.
Doc Ocean here, a.k.a. Dr. Wednesday Night.
And the Duke.
And we'll catch you all again. Same podcast time, same podcast channel. Peace and love.
Taste the ocean.
Tony, there are a lot of people that can claim to be, but there is only one world heavyweight champion.
A man who wears the 10 pounds of gold, David. You're right, he is something. The heavyweight champion of the world. Right now, let's go with the world's heavyweight champion.
If you look good and feeling alright, then say.
If you came just to party tonight, then say.
If you love how you're living your life, then say.
If your goals at a reachable height, then say.
If you look good and feeling alright, then say.
If you came just to party tonight, then say.
If you love how you're living your life, then say.
If your goals at a reachable height, then say.
Gotta admit, Phyllis had a battle of wits, panic attacks, and having lose control of the whip. And yet, I feel in me desire to spit the obstacles once I pass over, help me to lift myself to my knees, finally stand and plan a takeover from here to Japan. Remain remain sober. Have no doubt, edging closer to fame. Overseas tours, my face on the poster. The game ain't a gold rush, spending it plot. Trying to get a name, faking a claim on hip hop, and that's cool, but there's only so many rocks, if any worse still. Who am I to tell them to stop? It's real. Yo, I notice how they feel. Was on the same leash, being led around, trying to get a deal right. The game changing, my place in life right now is fortuitous. It's time for more music. Good and feeling alright and sane.
If you came just to party tonight, then say.
If you love how you're living your life and sane.
If your goals at a reachable height, then say.
If you look good and feeling alright and sane.
If you came just to party tonight, then say.
If you love how you're living your life and sane.
If your goals at a reachable height, then say.
Do you have any doubt in your life?
You know I don't.
Well, do you plan to ever drop on the mic?
You know I won't.
Right? I feel the same way. It's how to be and it's the mind affecting you from head to your feet. True. I ain't a brand name, but got a grand aim. Write the music for me, not to command fame. Not only times change, also takes us away. Just relying on lyrics that tempt fate.
So do you have any plans to quit?
You know I don't.
And when the going gets tough, if you split?
You know I won't.
Word, I feel exactly the same. Wu-Tang, Mr. Big, cause we back in the game, but we never left. Better threat when we're the subject and the predicate. No doubt we be the realest that you ever met. Hard minds and Mega Brand. When the going gets tough, we gon' forever stand. Show me your
You
hands.
look good and feeling alright and sane.
If you came just to party tonight, then say.
If you love how you're living your life and sane.
If your goals at a reachable height, then say.
If you look good and feeling alright and sane.
If you came just to party tonight, then say.
If you love how you're living your life and sane.
If your goals at a reachable height, then say. Yo, don't worry, I got a plan. Hold hope close like a Seattle Sox fan. Regardless whether or not they honor ran. When it's done, leave no doubt like Gwen Stefani's fan. Unlike them, don't put on my team. I'm living the dream. Eating till we split at the seams. Getting the cream? Maybe, but that don't matter much. Pancake fabrics in front, so go and batter up. Say I'm too mad, I say you aren't mad enough. As long as I like what comes out, well, that's enough. I had it rough, but nope, I don't complain a bit. Telling them, killing them, might be betraying a bit. Laser beam focus, I just aim and hit. Make them say woo like Jada Pink's favorite script. Making this sound like the greatest hits. It is what it is, ain't nobody changing this.
You look good and feeling alright and sane.
If you came just to party tonight, then say.
If you love how you're living your life and sane.
If your goals at a reachable height, then say.
If you look good and feeling alright and sane.
If you came just to party tonight, then say.
If you love how you're living your life and sane.
If your goals at a reachable height, then say.
If you look good and feeling alright.
If you came just to party tonight,
If you love how you're living your life.
if your goals at a reachable height, then say.
If you look good and feeling alright.
If you came just to party tonight,
If you love how you're living your life.
if your goals at a reachable height, then say.
If you look good and feeling alright.
If you came just to party tonight,
If you love how you're living your life.
if your goals at a reachable height, then say.
If you look good and feeling alright.
If you came just to party tonight,
If you love how you're living your life.
if your goals at a reachable height, then say.
You know, I wish I could take this opportunity to talk about myself, to talk about the World Heavyweight Championship, and to talk about all the national exposure that we get right here in the station. You see, you people out there, the greatest wrestling fans in the world, deserve an opportunity to see the best. So obviously, let's put two and two together. If I'm the World Heavyweight Champion, then I gotta be the best of them all. That's just cut and dry. I'm the best. Whether you like it or not, you're looking at the greatest wrestler, the best looking man, the best dressed man, long limousines, jet airplanes, custom made clothes, and any woman in the world I want. Just like that. Just like that. You know why? Because my name's Ric Flair, and because I'm the World Heavyweight Wrestling Champion. So you see, you're nothing to have this son of a plumber. You can't stand the fact that I was born with a and get a Mercedes-Benz and be a real man. Huh? Y'all playing catch-up ball to the nature boy. I don't care where you are in life or where you rank in professional wrestling. Let's face it, if you're not carrying the big gold, you're second best no matter what you tell yourself. So gear up, ladies and gentlemen. Get used to it in Ric Flair, who you're looking at, the man